Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another stream. Merry Christmas to all of you in the Americas, hemispheres, and whatnot, where it's still Christmas. And happy post-Christmas to those of you in the future. Those of you in the past don't know what you're missing. All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you had a good Christmas. Mine involved a lot of sleep. Before we get started here, let's see if my system's going to work. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. There we go. Hey, fucktard, how's it going, man? Well, let's see who's in chat, shall we? Let's see. Manic, Della, Cynic. Nobody, not me. Raymond, Evolved Potato, Old Guy Gamer, John Migda, Yoshi, Keeverdam. Somebody calling me late and gay. Spittle Buggy, Argris, Costin, how's it going? Fucktard, Megan, Ginger Snap. How you guys all doing? All right, as usual, we got to start with the pointless shill because I forgot to pin it at the top at the beginning of the episode, like I usually do. I'm a little scatterbrained today. I'm very tired. I've been sleeping, but not getting quality sleep. So I'm a little all over the place. So you guys know the drill. Like, share, subscribe. I am going to do a Matrix review. It'll be short and probably filled with spoilers. I don't know. It depends how ranty it gets. Oh, thank you, Merle. Hopefully my enemies do have death visit them swiftly. Take my mind off of their nonsense. I don't wish bad things on people, but if it happens, you know. Hey, Cigar, how you doing, man? A lot of sitting around waiting for my sister and brother-in-law to get packed. It was nice, but I don't think I'm making the trip out again. Packing sucks, and people always seem to take a lot longer than I do. Like, I don't tend to pack a lot of stuff, and when it's time to go, I'm out the door. I want to be ready to go. Get stuff done. The dilly-dallying around, I don't understand that at all. All right, so we'll do the Matrix review a little later because I just finished watching it a few minutes ago, and then I had to go refill my drink and get things ready. You're not wrong, Argris. I would torture myself with new Spider-Man, so I don't have to do it with the new Matrix, at least if you've done it for us. Well, Della, I think you've suffered enough because it makes Spider-Man look good. Well, better. I think this was probably the better of the Marvel Spider-Mans, but still wasn't what I would call great. All right, let's start off with some sad news, I guess. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know him, so it doesn't really matter to me. Draco the Ruler dies at 28, stabbed at Los Angeles Festival. Was it a stabbing festival? That's he's wearing a giant handkerchief from what I can tell. Up here and here, at least it matches, I guess. But it's got a little like Chinese restaurant advertisement and really overpriced cheap necklace. Draco the Ruler has died at the age of 28. TMZ and Rolling Stone reports. Representative for the Los Angeles rapper confirmed the news to Pitchfork. I'm assuming Pitchfork is a news outlet and not a random farming utensil, because you never know these days. I don't know how that Pitchfork identifies. According to TMZ, Draco the Ruler was stabbed during an altercation that broke out backstage during Once Upon a Time in LA Fest last night, December 18th, where he was scheduled to perform. He was reportedly rushed to the hospital following the incident. Pitchfork has reached out to the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles Fire Department, and Once Upon a Time in LA Fest for further comment. Do not reach out with actual pitchforks, please. That's bad. That'll get you shot. Shortly after 1 a.m. Eastern, Once Upon a Time in LA posted a statement on Twitter stating that the festival would be ending early. The post did not reference the altercation or Draco the Ruler. Well, they don't want to incite panic. Reports from the LA Times and local station KTLA confirmed that an individual was stabbed at the festival, which was held at Bank of California Stadium and Exposition Park. The LA Times spoke with Margaret Stewart, public information officer for the Los Angeles Fire Department, who said that around 8:40 p.m. Pacific, paramedics responded to a call about a stabbing and that one person was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The individual was not identified in the LA Times report, but a person in direct knowledge of the incident told the LA Times that hip-hop artist Draco, the ruler, was attacked by a group of people at the music festival and seriously injured. The New York Times reported the stabbing is currently on investigation by the LAPD, that it was unclear whether any arrests have been made. That means no. He was born Darrell Caldwell on December 1st, 1993. The LA native caught the attention of DJ Mustard. I don't know who that is either, with his 2015 track, Mr. Ghetto. That's a real song. Sounds like something the Play-Doh company would have made. DJ Mustard, sure, remixed the single later that year, exposing the rapper to a wider audience. And that had been, what, a couple hundred people? Draco the Ruler went on to release a string of mixtapes in the past 6 years, starting with I Am Mr. Mosley. Is that code for, like... No, that was Ted Mosby in How I Met Your Mother. Never mind. Also issued in 2015. Subsequent tapes included... Were these actual cassette tapes? Because that would be hilarious if they were. Included Cold Devil, Free Draco, and Thank You for Using GTL. The later of which Draco the Ruler recorded over the phone while in jail. But that sound quality was fantastic. Despite being acquitted of murder charges in 2019. Jesus. Draco the Ruler was being held in Los Angeles County Men's Jail as he awaited trial. Holy fucking shit. This guy's a real peach. After striking a plea deal with the LA District Attorney's Office, Draco the Ruler was released from prison last November. Following his release, the rapper dropped a host of new projects and mixtapes, including We Know the Truth, A Cold Day in Hell with Ralphie the Plug. Is that a gay porno name? The Truth Hurts and Ain't That the Truth. The latter two full lengths arrived earlier this year. Less than 2 weeks ago, Draco the Ruler released his new project, So Cold I Do 'Em Too. I don't know what any of this means. It is brief but public career. Draco the Ruler also collaborated with Earl Sweatshirt. It's the names that make me smile the most. Drake on their song Talk to Me So Weedy on Risky, and many other artists who I've probably never heard of. Since the news of his death surfaced, artists like Saweetie and JPEG Mafia, Pink Saifu, Kenny Beats, Juicy J, Triple Red, these all sound like gamer tags from like 12-year-old kids. And countless more have paid their respects on social media. My condolences go out to the family and loved ones of Draco the Ruler. Snoop Dogg, who was on Once Upon a Time in LA lineup, wrote on Instagram, last night I was in my dressing room when I was informed about the incident, chose immediately to leave the festival grounds, probably just for safety reasons. My prayers go out to everyone affected by the tragedy. Please take care, love one another, and stay safe, y'all. Praying for peace and hip hop. Yeah, good luck with that one, Snoop. And you're from California, Snoop. Why are you saying y'all? If you're not from the South, you don't get to say y'all. You either have to be from the South or living in the South to even try and use that word. So whoever this guy is, he got stabbed to death, and they haven't caught anyone yet. So that's a thing that happened. And people in hip-hop are running out of nicknames. You're never going to sound cool if you're DJ Sweatpants or whatever. All right, moving right along. Slow news day. The guy is famous in his own neighborhood. Probably a rapper on trial for murder. I'm shocked. Shocked. I know, right? Was it? Hipster hop? Yeah. Yeah, that. It's like they're not even trying. DJ P Pants. And he threw down with Corn Pop. All right, there's an article I just came across before we were going live. This comes from Cinema Blend. Oops, wrong screen. And this one is, apparently Mike Wolf is getting divorced, the guy from American Pickers. And this is about how much he's shelling out in his divorce. So some celebrity gossip news. And I was just interested in this passingly. I had a buddy that loved American Pickers, and I had to sit through more hours of this show than I care to admit to. Like, I didn't hate it. I like looking at other people's junk, but it was just a stupid show. It was kind of brainless stuff, but it got to be old real fast. Popular antiquing favorite, American Pickers. Oh, sure. Let's go with that. Might be a fun, breezy little viewing experience, but unfortunately, behind the scenes, the reality show has been anything but tranquil. Co-star Frank Fritz went to rehab and was ultimately let go from the series. I did not know that. I literally just found this article. So I didn't know that he went to, what did he have, like, was he bumping coke off of hookers or something? And other lead, Mike Wolf has been working through his way through a time-consuming and expensive divorce. Those legal proceedings have finally concluded earlier this month after about a year, and if circulating reports are to believe, the experience was quite costly. The Sun, notable, reputable news source, not tabloid at all, posted a pretty extensive breakdown of the divorce judgment, which was handed down on December 6th, and according to the outlet, a judge ruled Mike Wolf needed to pay his now ex $5,228,878.73. Because that 73 cents, that's the clincher. That's when she was like, no, we are not rounding down. We are not rounding up. You are going to give me exactly what I am owed. I wonder if he banged that kind of thick, gothy looking chick. Because I bet he did. In addition, the couple also split up 4 houses and 11 commercial properties they own. Mike will also hold on to the antique archaeology stores and associated businesses and pay Jody a percentage of the royalties American Picker generates. That bitch is getting a percentage of the royalties from his show. That's ridiculous. They're also going to divide custody, with her having their daughter about 60% of the time and him having her about 40% of the time. In the aftermath of the couple's separation, rumors started swirling that Wolf was dating former reality star Letitia Klein. I don't know who that is. Oh, she was previously on Beauty and the Geek. I don't know what that is either. And has made a lot of pop culture related appearances, including on Howard Stern, and as a model in Playboy and Maxim. Can't talk. The two were spotted in some pictures together, but they've largely been quiet about their relationship. It's unclear what the relationship may or may not be now. The behind-the-scenes drama more directly related to American Pickers has been a central topic of conversation for fans over the past few years. After dealing with some back problems, co-star Frank Fritz took a break from the show and never came back. Maybe they left him at one of those farms. Questions amongst fans as to what was going on started getting louder, and ultimately there was a pretty ugly back and forth between everyone involved in the show. Fritz later accused Mike Wolf of not reaching out after he had his back problems. He also said some things about the two never really being friends. In response, co-star Danielle Colby, goth chick I previously mentioned, released her own statement about Fritz needing help and that she was hoping he would get better. Wolf also released his own statement that indicated Fritz would not be returning. Yeah, he got shit canned, obviously. He probably was popping pain pills and got hooked. It's pretty easy to do. No doubt all this has been a lot for Mike Wolf. Boo fucking who. It's hard to keep up with as a fan. I can't imagine the strain he's been under. I don't care. So, yeah, this dude's paying out 5 big ones, $5 million to his ex, and she's getting future cut of his royalties on the show. I guess he's got to get new co-host. I don't know. They always made it look like those two were buddies, but maybe not. Bachelorette with Nerdy Guides. Oh, okay. Hey, Brad Young. How you doing? Merry Christmas. You're not wrong, Evolved. MC Bladdersack. Yeah. You never get like MC Fist July or anything like that, or DJ Anus. If you have an ounce of wealth, never marry. Yeah. And even that you got to be careful with. Like, don't have like live-in partners. Just have them over a certain percentage of the time, and then they have to fuck right off back to their place. I didn't know it was still on either, Sherry. I don't have cable anymore, so I haven't had it in a couple of years. Hey, Grisella, Merry Christmas. Nice. We're looking forward to seeing your book, man. Oh, thanks, Assassin. Merry Christmas. All right, what else we got here? Let's get all the depressing shit out of the way. All right, over at the deal, never let someone get mail at your place. Damn right, they live there then. American Pickers was this reality show that'd go around and buy people's junk out of their barns and whatnot, and then sell it at their antique store. That's it. Yeah, Richard, prenups, way to go. Absolutely. If you've got any value or valuables, get the prenup. And make sure she doesn't know about your Cayman Islands account. From the Daily Mail, parents of Walking Dead actress Alicia Witt are found dead in their Massachusetts home after she raised the alarm when she hadn't heard from them in a few days. Police say no signs of foul play. She wasn't just on The Walking Dead, she was also in Dune. The parents of Dune and Walking Dead actress Alicia Witt were found lifeless inside their Massachusetts home after she asked a relative for a wellness check upon being unable to reach them for several days. The actress, 46, had a relative who lived near the Worcester house check on Robert Witt, 87, and Diane Witt, 75, after not hearing from them for several days. 12-year age difference. Nice. I reached out to a cousin who lives close to my parents to check on them. Sadly, the outcome was unimaginable. Yeah, that's awful, especially this close to Christmas for them. This was December 22nd. I asked for some privacy at this time to grieve and wrap my head around this turn of events and this surreal loss. After the bodies were found in the Sussex Lane home Monday, police officials said there was no signs of foul play. It's under investigation. The couple had been ill for some time, a neighbor said. Police said they'd received reports that Witt's parents had been experiencing furnace problems and were using a space heater to heat their home, according to the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. Witt was in the 1984 David Lynch film Dune. That's her. At age 8. You thought it meant the new Dune movie, didn't you? However, firefighters who responded to the scene reportedly checked the air quality inside the residence and detected no noxious gases. There was no sign of carbon monoxide, Worcester Fire Chief Deputy Adam Roche said. Authorities have yet to confirm the exact cause of death, but said there was no signs of foul play. An autopsy will be conducted. So they don't even know what killed these people. It's tragic. So, yeah. Hey, Donald, how you doing? She was in Law and Order for a while. I was thinking she was. But I couldn't remember. But, yeah, she's had a pretty interesting career. So, yeah, a bit of a tragedy there. Hey, tall person. How's it going, man? All right. Brittany Murphy happened to them. I wonder, maybe. I watered my ear last night. Been all jacked up since. All that sucks. Yeah, you never know with stuff like that, especially celebrities. A lot of their families are subjected to a lot of scrutiny. So that sucks for her. I hope she recovers okay. I hope it wasn't foul play and it was just like they're old. But you never know. There's no matter what caused their deaths, it's going to be a tragedy for her. Sticking my head in to say hi and throw shekels. Oh, I like shekels. Thank you, tall person. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank you, tall person. Can't watch live, but we'll watch in full later. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, man. Thank you very much. Thanks, dude. That's really nice of you. She may not have been able to, Ginger. Plus, they may have said, no, don't come out here. You know how it is with parents. They worry about you, and they don't want you to worry about them. So they may not have told her how sick they really were. They might have had the coof. Have a good one, tall person. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Merry Christmas. All right, let's talk about Bruce Willis. There's this piece I found in Hollywood and Toto. It's called Bruce Willis Films Now Border on Fan Abuse. It's talking about a lot of the lower budget movies that he's been doing lately. Apex is the latest proof that Bruce Willis will not stop caring about what's in front of the camera. Not only will stop caring about what's in front of the camera, but also anyone unfortunate enough to sit through any of it. The thriller marks the 5th movie starring Willis to be released this year, with 2 more still to come. Rewind the clock a decade and tell Willis fans that one day you'll see John McClane in 7 movies in 1 year. They may think you're describing a film lover's fantasy. You're not. John McClane's a fictional character, you half-wit. Little would they know what a nightmare that dream turned out to be. Between Cosmic Sin, Out of Death, Midnight in the Switchgrass, Survive the Game, and this weekend's Apex, Willis has headlined 5 features in 2021 for the producing team of Randall Emmett and George Furla, whom he has begun renting out his talents to in recent years. While Emmett and Furla also produced The Irishman and Lone Survivor, they are mainly known for B-movie content most people aimlessly scroll past while looking for something to watch. They target audiences willing to waste a few bucks because a recognizable face like De Niro or Willis has been photoshopped onto the cover art, not knowing the stars only spent a few days on set while snagging an exorbitant amount of money. These VOD features have become almost their own genre. Okay, obviously he never heard of direct-to-video. These titles are often churned out in a few weeks and unceremoniously dropped onto VOD platforms to recoup investment money off the backs of its stars. This is nothing new. Straight-to-video has always been a thing. It always will be. The home direct market got huge because of these type of movies. You take somebody that had past their prime and you put them in a movie, even for a few minutes, and you could sell that movie. Boxing Day fried chicken. Ooh, that sounds good. Fan abuse. Who cares how many movie does if it makes money for him? Why shouldn't he do it? Yeah, 7 to 10 days on set, collects a check for a few million per movie. I see no problem. Yeah, right. Okay. And hi, by the way. There's absolutely no reason for him not to do these, even if he's not getting paid millions. All right, let's finish this up a little bit more. Plenty of respected actors dabble in these quick paychecks, but Willis has made it his bread and butter. His upcoming projects suggest that won't change anytime soon. Long gone are the days filled with projects like Die Hard and Unbreakable, works that solidified Willis not just as an action icon, but a leading man willing to be more introspective than contemporaries like Schwarzenegger and Stallone. Stallone did Copland, which was undoubtedly an acting movie as opposed to an action movie. And Schwarzenegger's done quite a few stinkers in his time. And a lot of movies within the past 10 years that had nothing to do with budget. Apex is the saddest reminder yet that Willis audiences once supported may be gone for good. The feeling, blah, 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 blah. That leaves pointless hit-and-miss exchanges between supporting players whose talents often wildly differ to fill runtime suitable to sell to streaming services. Streaming services need content, and Willis understands that. And he probably gets a cut on the back end from these. And if he doesn't, he still gets his face out there. More importantly, what this guy doesn't seem to understand by this article is that Willis is actually supporting all of the other people on these projects. He is pulling them up. People that wouldn't normally see these movies are watching them because of his name. Corbin Dallas is really maybe. I don't know. I don't live in the future. But what Bruce Willis is doing here, whether he's doing it for a paycheck or not, is irrelevant. What he's doing is lending his name to a lot of up-and-comers who need a break. They need to break into the industry. And getting on these low-budget films is the only thing they have. That's the only chance they have. But many, many more people will watch it because Bruce Willis is in it than they would have if it was just some nobody. So he is actually helping a lot of up-and-coming actors. And I think that's not a bad thing. And you know what? I've seen some of his VOD movies, and they're not bad. They're kind of a mixed bag, but if you're looking for some brainless entertainment, some of them are pretty fun. They don't mention The Surrogates in here, but that was a really fun sci-fi movie, and that was done on a nothing budget. Yes. Yes, Assassin, that is 100% a great quote. Low budget indie art house. Yeah, exactly, Louis. This is nothing new. And the fact that this guy wants to shit all over Bruce Willis helping these other people. Because remember, it's not just the actors, but the screenwriters, all the people that work on the film, the key grips, they're all being helped by these movies because they have somebody with a good name that is beloved by lots and lots of people that have heard of Bruce Willis. You know, maybe you saw Die Hard and in the recommended comes up one of these movies. You're like, nah, I'll watch it. Why not? Something to do. Even if it's bad, they're still getting the views. You're not wrong, Louis. The author thinks film is art and art alone. Yeah, but art is also entertainment. And they forget that quite a bit. This is pretentious snobbery of the worst kind. So what if he's doing these movies? A lot of has-beens end up in... And I'm not saying Willis is a has-been, because he's certainly not. But a lot of actors have to go scraping by at like Hallmark or, you know, the Jesus channels to try and get a paycheck. Bruce Willis still has name recognition. He's still widely known for his movies. And he can still get A-list roles. And he chooses to do these movies. And maybe it's because he likes the ideas or the script. It's probably not for the paycheck, let's be real. He's got more than enough money. And they're not going to pay him millions to be on these little rinky-dink videos. But he gets his name out there, pads his acting credits, and a bunch of people benefit from it. So I think it's pretty shitty to crap all over all these other people. Yeah, some of them are shitty actors that'll never go anywhere. But there's probably a few people in there whose careers will be made off of these movies. And they'll get other work just because they were in a movie with Bruce Willis. Even if he never acknowledges them or makes eye contact with them, they might get more work because they were in a Bruce Willis movie. Those actors can make it Weinstein style. That's probably true. Watch enough low-quality stuff if it had a big enough name in it, regardless if it had a major release. Yeah, I watch all kinds of shitty movies because they're fun. They're at least making entertainment. Oh, good. Glad you're doing well there, Donald. So yeah, that kind of annoyed me. All right, let's make fun of TikTok for a minute because it's stupid. I hate that platform. It's so dumb. Caterers, key grips, boom operators, cinematographers. Exactly. Everybody involved in the process benefits because of his name. And they probably got funding because of his name. Oh, hey, Bishop. How you doing? Merry Christmas. These people should be thankful just for acting alongside Hudson Hawk, right? The legend. Gets a minimum of $1 million even for these movies. Been doing it for years. See no issue. Yeah. The author probably auditioned for the roles Will Scott in these movies. Yeah, that won't surprise me at all. And you know what? Good on him. Good on Bruce Willis. He's making money. He just shows up for a little while, gets a paycheck, and he helps out all these other people at the same time. Even if he's on set for 3 or 4 days. Nobody bitched that Zendaya was on set for 4 days for Dune. Because she was a bit player, for one. Also, she doesn't have that kind of star power. But if you're in a movie with Bruce Willis, you're going to get another acting job somewhere, no matter how bad you are. Even if it's a TV commercial. You'll get some kind of paid position. And a lot of these people are probably getting their SAG cards from this. So he's, I think, doing quite a bit of good here for people, whether he's doing it for his own selfish financial gain or if he's actually being altruistic. I don't think it matters. And good on him for that. I think it's kind of lazy to crap all over somebody for that. So Tom Cruise was basically saying when he was yelling about him getting sick last year? Probably. But Tom Cruise is a weirdo and a jackass. I don't have any respect for any Hollywood celebrity for the most part. Bruce Willis is kind of a douchebag too, from what I've heard. But at least these actors that are in these low budget films have a shot. Then they're getting acting roles. They've got the chance to actually break out and get exposure, because most of these movies aren't going to get funded if they don't have somebody's name attached to them. And Bruce Willis still has a bankable name. Some of the roles are just roles he could do in his sleep. Yeah, exactly. He can phone it in all day long. It doesn't matter. He's still Bruce Willis. And there will always be a fan base that watches it just because he's in it. Hey, Kevin. Merry Christmas. Several of the Bruce Willis cable movies. His back must hurt from carrying the production. Yeah, probably. But again, he's helping out a lot of people by just showing up. So I don't hold that against him. So what? Everybody's done some crap movies. But if he wants to do these and just collect a paycheck, I respect that. He's still helping all these other people out, whether he intends to or not. All right, let's talk about TikTok. Get the fuck out of my home. TikTok content creator Bryce Hall confronts Intruder on his staircase before he's arrested on suspicion of burglary. TikTok personality Bryce Hall, that's this loser here. TikTok personality. Okay, whatever. Bryce Hall confronted a man who entered his West Hollywood, California residence on Tuesday in a clip Hall shared on social media. Police told TMZ the intruder was arrested in connection with suspicion of burglary. In a clip posted on social media, Hall held his cell phone while focused on a man who was standing inside the home on a staircase. That's this weirdo. Now, I've heard reports this guy's some kind of weirdo fan, but he probably was there to steal some mementos. And he's just like, what are you doing? Get out of my house. Get out of my house. This guy's like, what? It was the most weird conversation I've seen in a while. Look at this fucking guy. It's the stalker. And you walked into my house, Hall 22 was heard saying in the clip as he focused on the man. Get the fuck out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house. Did you really just walk into my house? No, he teleported. In a subsequent clip, the man was standing outside the home, and Hall asked if he should show his identification to the public so you don't do this to other people. The social media star accused the man of trespassing on his property multiple times, to which the man denied knowing that he was on Hall's property, claiming he was invited in by a woman. Hall later shared a still image of the man being placed in handcuffs by officers, capturing the shot, "We Gucci." I don't know what that means. That must be code for, I don't know. Maybe they're going to make this guy make purses or something. I don't know. So this dude just wanders in the house and nosing around like a weirdo. Police told TMZ they were notified about an intruder entering the home when the owner was present. Hall and another man had apprehended the suspect in the driveway of the home when authorities showed up, police told the outlet. Hall later posted a shot of a large lunch spread he had laid out in the wake of the incident. I think I earned a pretty good meal after arresting a stalker. I think the cops did that, dude. Hall also reposted a shot shared by his friend Rory Fitzpatrick. That's as Irish as it gets, isn't it? Of the man being placed into handcuffs. He captioned the shot, and all good, only the fifth time this shithead has broken into the house. Thank you, LAPD, for the quick response this time. He broke in flip-flops. It's hard to take you seriously if you're breaking in flip-flops. So, yeah, that's weird and creepy. Don't go to people's houses. He's probably some pervert weirdo that wanted to rub one out in this dude's underwear or something. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. The video's very stupid too, because this guy's a little spazzy Nancy, and it's really weird and stupid. Yeah, I figured it was we good, but you never know. West Hollywood is gay town. I believe that. I have no idea how they make money, Assassin. I'm pretty sure they just hope for like deals, or like people send them money on Cash App, or they get like clothing brand deals or something. Oh, yeah. Oki just said it. Brand deals and sponsored videos selling products and merch. That's weird to me. It's content for at least a week. That dude's going to milk this for months. Hey, JMK. How you doing, man? Seth Rogen up here in the comments and say it's just the price you pay for living in a major city like LA. Yeah, maybe. Won't surprise me. Seth Rogen. God. That dude needs a hobby other than Twitter. That's really not good for his mental health. I had another TikTok one. Hang on. We're doing TikToks. Not actual TikToks, but you know. Where'd it go? Yep, this is exciting. Oh, TikTok moderator sues over mental trauma caused by graphic videos. Did you not know what you were getting into when you signed up for this? I mean, really. Merry Christmas to you too, JMK. This is from Engadget. TikTok moderator has sued the social media platform and its parent ByteDance over trauma caused by graphic videos, Bloomberg has reported. In a recent class action lawsuit, moderator Candy Frazier said that she has screened videos showing violence, school shootings, fatal falls, and even cannibalism. Plaintiff has trouble sleeping, and when she does, she has horrific nightmares, the lawsuit states. Maybe you should have thought about that when you signed up. Did you think it was going to be all sunshine and lollipops? You're a moderator. Compounding the problem, TikTok allegedly requires moderators to work 12-hour shifts with only a 1-hour lunch and 2 15-minute breaks. Oh, noes! Due to the sheer volume of content moderators are permitted no more than 25 seconds per video and simultaneously view 3 to 10 videos at the same time. So, plaintiff had trouble sleeping, and when she does sleep, she has horrific nightmares. Along with other social media companies, including Facebook and YouTube, TikTok developed guidelines to help moderators cope with child abuse and other traumatic images. Among the suggestions is that the company limit moderator shifts to 4 hours and provide psychological support. However, TikTok allegedly failed to implement those guidelines according to the lawsuit. Their guidelines aren't requirements. Content moderators take the brunt of graphic and traumatic images that appear on social media, making sure that users don't have to experience them. That's what you get paid for, idiot. One company that provides content moderators for large tech firm even acknowledged in a consent form for the job could cause post-traumatic stress disorder. That's because we live in a world full of pussies. However, social media companies have been criticized by their mods and others for not paying enough given the psychological hazards and not providing enough mental health support. A similar lawsuit was filed against Facebook in 2018. If you can't handle it, quit the job. And if they're not paying you enough, that's on you for not negotiating your salary. So you're not required to work this job. Despite what a lot of people want, you're not required to do that job. Frazier's hoping to represent other TikTok screeners in a class action suit and is asking for compensation for psychological injuries and a court order for medical funds for moderators. How about no? I'm sorry, it sucks. Yeah, you had to look at some bad stuff. You didn't have to be there when it was done, did you? No, you didn't. It was also in the job description. Exactly. So this is probably going to go nowhere. I think TikTok sucks and it's stupid, but that's the problem you have with a lot of these groups of crybaby pussies. You want to work at this place thinking it's going to be all sunshines and lollipops, but it's not. And then you bitch. You don't get to do that. I know, Merle, right? No plan? What? They want to work less and make more money? Yeah. Well, they don't want to do any real work. Hey, P-Dog, how you doing? No, you didn't. I didn't do what? Let me guess they want to unionize? Probably. That wouldn't surprise me. She thought she'd be censoring a bunch of right-wing conservatives. Yeah, pretty much. I think there's a lot of naivete these days with these kids, and they really have no idea what the real world is like. You know, like in the Congo or Uganda or some of these other shithole countries. because they've never had to experience anything like that. They've never been outside of their bubbles. So they honestly do not understand that there are bad people out there. And they get hurt by all the trauma. I accidentally closed the next article. Let me pull it back up. Hey, Merry Christmas, P-Dog. I did what? What'd I do? Oh my god, I'm getting dumb. Yeah, well, the older I get, the more irritated I am with how big a crybabies everybody is. I mean, we all bitch about stuff, but some of the stuff is just ridiculous. We live in a very safe society, and it's taken for granted so much that people have to find things to be upset about. I don't know if you guys heard about this one, but this comes from CNN. Wheel of Fortune contestant will still get a new car after she lost out on a technicality. I actually watched this episode with my mom because she loves Wheel of Fortune. And this lady was reading the text of the puzzle, and she paused too long in between these two words. And she lost out on the car because of it. After a Wheel of Fortune contestant lost out on a new Audi due to a technicality, even though she answered the puzzle correctly, the car company said it would gift her the vehicle instead. Within a few days of her appearance on the long-running game show, Audi located competitor Charlene Rubisch and said it would give her the same model car she was denied on the show. In a recent holiday episode of Wheel of Fortune, Rubisch made it to the bonus round with just 10 seconds to fill the missing letters of the puzzle themed "What are you doing?" After choosing the right card, she guessed again, choosing the right word. She answered correctly, but the pause of a few seconds between right and word cost her the car. And yeah, it sucks, but they have their rules. Hey, Golf City, Johnny Blaze, how you doing? She wasn't stuttering. She was just trying to process the word word, ironically. Not the bird is the word. That's a different word. You know, this was tough because you said all the right words, including the word, but as you know, it's got to be more or less continuous, host Pat Sajak told Rubisch, a hint of disappointment in his voice. We'll allow for a little pause, but not 4 or 5 seconds. I'm sorry, he continued. You did a good job getting it, but we can't give you the prize, and it was the Audi. And you could tell he was bummed about that because he was like, oh, shit. Rubisch did enter the show with $16,500 in winnings. Just know Audi Q3, a luxury SUV that's starting at $35,900, which is a ridiculous amount of money for that thing. A clip of the moment Rubisch lost out on the Audi due to a technicality was shared widely on Twitter, including by former Jeopardy winner Alex Jacob. Come on, Wheel of Fortune. The woman literally chose the right word, he tweeted. Give her the car. His plea and those of other Wheel of Fortune viewers gained traction, and Jacob shared that he had messaged Audi to ask for their help. Several hours later, Audi tweeted that Rubisch was the winner in our eyes and would award her the Q3. Tara Rush, Audi of America Chief Marketing Officer, said the company was thrilled to gift Charlene in a statement to CNN. It's the season of giving after all, and technically or not, we are always eager to share a bit of Audi magic and cheer, Rush said in a statement. Wheel of Fortune did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment. So I think this is a really good marketing ploy on their part because they get some good publicity. Maybe a couple people that were on the fence about an Audi will lean toward it now and buy one. And you can't go wrong with a little bit of goodwill. And it makes them look really good. I don't think it really hurts Wheel of Fortune. They got their rules, whatever. But she still gets the fucking car. So that was a good deed that Audi did, I would say. Because you could tell Pat Sajak was a little bummed about not giving it to her. Hey, Merry Christmas, hey, Camel. Still didn't win the car, but was gifted a free car. Yeah. It was just that weird delay, and I think the producers were just being dicks and should have given it to her. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Audi, but I think they're overpriced. I think most vehicles are overpriced, though. The car's cheaper than another commercial for Audi. Yeah, it probably wins them more favor, too. Because I think more people would be impressed by this kind of generosity than they would be by their shitty commercials. All right. Let's jump over to some tabletop news. You remember how we were talking about last time about D&D's changing a bunch of their lore and stuff? Well, it's time for Paizo to get in on it too. This is from Bounding into Comics. Pathfinder tabletop RPG to remove slavery from our game and setting completely. Will provide no in-game explanation for change. Yeah, they'll just say slavery doesn't exist. Following the publication of an anonymous open letter asking the publisher to address Pathfinder's slavery problem, Paizo Inc. publisher Eric Mona has announced that effective immediately and without any plans to provide as an in-game explanation for its disappearance, the concept of slavery would be removed from the game and setting completely. Apparently, it's just that easy to erase slavery. Addressed directly to Mona and the publisher, and published on December 13th to the personal blog of veteran Paizo designer and Pathfinder developer Owen Casey Stevens at the author's request. The anonymous letter asserted that the game's fixation on slavery as an institution, as a plot hook, as a fixture in the world of Pathfinder is at times baffling and at times infuriating. You mean like slavery itself? Even as black fans, capitalized, players and writers express our outrage and discomfort over and over again. I think slavery is supposed to make people uncomfortable and outraged. Don't you? Certain writers at Paizo continue to ignore us and use an awful source of pain as fodder for their entertainment. Ignoring it doesn't make it any less real. There's still real-world slavery. You know that, right? The author continued evidently identifying themselves as a black individual. And while I would typically choose to call out the company as a whole rather than any particular individual, in this case, I feel I have no choice. Of their choice to call out Mona personally, the author stated in recent Pathfinder release, Lost Omens, Absalom, Eric Mona is credited as both the development lead and editing lead, and thus to them, in nearly every way that mattered, Eric Mona had created control over what the final product would look like, and so he's the person I have to hold responsible. I don't think it's real. It's not real slavery. It's fictional. To that end, feeling, quote, the need to provide some additional information so that everyone can understand why it feels like such a betrayal, end quote, they explained, and to do that, I have to talk about Pathfinder Society organized play program that allows player to jump into public pre-organized games, often with people they may not know very well, not to bury the lead. Until recently, players of these publicly organized games were allowed to buy slaves. It's a game, dude. Relax. You're not actually going to a real slave market. Nobody is LARPing this. I don't think. That'd be weird. If you're wondering how that happened, it's pretty straightforward, wrote the freelancer. Somewhere in some Pathfinder book, there were rules, options that detailed the cost to purchase a slave, a perfectly legal practice in the fictional city of Absalom. Okay. Certain Paizo employees decide which books are allowed for society, and the books with this option was the one of the ones allowed. So any player with access to that rule could have their character buy another human being, or elf, or orc, because they're not human beings, by the way. And because there's no rule to disallow it, the game master and other players at the table had no way to stop them. Yeah, you could just be like, no, we're not using that rule. That's how that works in a fictional game. You just be like, we're not using this rule. Everybody cool with that? All right, good, let's go. Hey, Sir TMNT, how's it going? Yeah, Spittle Buggy. It's amazing how that works. Lots of people LARP slavery, usually it's women in the bedroom. Yeah, right? Where it belongs. It's a sexy time affair. Sometimes in my basement. Circling back to the Pathfinder Society organized play program, the anonymous individual angrily surmised, "You see, participating in society play means that you agree to play by their rules. If you don't like it, your only recourse, by and large, is to get up and leave the table." Oh, noes! Get up and leave it. That sounds like a lot of work. What are you, Amberlynn Reed? The only alternative is to get everyone to agree that the rule is wrong and either collectively ignore it or force Pazio's hand to get them to change it. So you already admit you can ignore the rule. God, what a crybaby. A group of players, mostly led by black voices, chose the latter. Black voices? You know, black people are more than just a voice, right? I have a lot of questions about that. These disembodied spiritual voices of color are disconcerting. The official response: if players wanted slavery banned in organized play, then there had to be an in-game event that justified the abolition of slavery. What a fucking hoop to jump through, right? Not really. That could be a major event, like a big slave uprising or an abolitionist movement. You could have created an abolitionist movement within the city, giving them some ideas to work with there. However, according to them, it happened with running of Pathfinder's Society scenario number 9-00, Assault on Absalom, an in-game event requested by players that led to the abolition of slavery. In one city, by conscripting the enslaved people to fight in a war and then giving freedom to the survivors, way to trip forward over a very low bar, the freelancer backhandedly recalled. And since then, other content has been published with a clear anti-colonialist abolitionist agenda. Former colonies went through revolutions to free the colonized people and grant them independence. This sounds really boring. And that cover sucks. Look at that. What the fuck, man? That's lazy. You're a professional game company. They further argued that other influential figures in the world are working to purge slavery from their own regions. Most freelancers and developers are so desperately want to move forward and leave this awful shit behind. We want this to be a game that everyone can enjoy that doesn't trivialize black pain or rely on shock value. Black people were not the only people enslaved in the world. There are Middle Eastern people enslaved right now. There are Asian people enslaved right now. There are white people enslaved right now. There are Laplanders enslaved right now. It's not just black people. Get over yourself. I'm so tired of this shit. This is pathetic. Should make a game that's based on slavery, just work the hierarchy like the Camarilla in Vampire. Never was a slave except the prince, of course, no actual vampires. That would never get published. Look, slavery exists in the world. It exists in fantasy. It exists in reality. It exists in science fiction. Part of how you respond to those situations is what makes the characters interesting. And you don't have to have it in your game if it's this traumatic to you. Also, get a backbone. That's weird. You're not a slave. And if you are a slave, why are you allowed to play role-playing games? I find that odd. This is more of that. Yeah, this is 1619. Exactly, Kiever Dam. So only the orcs were enslaved? Good one, Jordan, but no. What about the Irish in America being mistreated in the mid-20th century? That's a hate fact. Never mind, the first person enslaved in the U.S. was a white dude. Slavery was a big part of the Crusades. Yep. Islamic countries were conquering Christian lands and raiding them for slaves. Absolutely. All right. Somebody bop that. Hide him. Got it. Never mind, I got it. I now read the gore books. Yeah, the gore books are fantastic. But my genetically encoded memory of pain. Yeah, I find that weird. Oh, thank you very much, Rodline. Merry Christmas. I pushed over a Salvation Army guy and took his money. Here's your cut. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. All right. We're all in hiding them now. We basically used the Chinese as slaves down here. Yeah, they did that out in the Old West, too. has no spanner for which to smite. Self-censored out of respect. Look, slavery is horrible. I agree with that. But that doesn't take away from the fact that there are stories to be told like that. And there are stories that can be told, and maybe you could use that as a parable. Maybe you could do something with that isn't just, you know, I don't know. I think this is just stupid. This is by removing this from a setting where it is and not giving context to it, you're trying to ignore something that happened. And that doesn't help things for storytelling. By saying, don't worry about it, Keeper Dam, you're fine. They'll sell a Army had it coming now. Well, by saying that this is traumatic for a handful of people, doesn't mean it doesn't have storytelling value. And by removing it, you're basically trying to avoid the topic. And I find that incredibly lazy. And maybe you shouldn't be playing the game then. Maybe you should play with a different group of people. Yeah, Raymond, look at Roots. That story does not exist without slavery, and it was a very well-told story. There's a lot of things in history that are awful and horrible, atrocities, but that doesn't mean that we should ignore them or hide from them. 126 references to slaves and slavery in the 402 pages of Absalom. Yeah, it's an important detail of the city. It's an aspect of the city. Some of them are just recounting history. Some of them are references to abolition and aiding free people. Several of them are graphic depictions of illegal slavery, human trafficking, prison abuse, organized crime, and all the various ways that Absalom tries to have it both ways. Yeah, that's called nuance. And Pathfinder is a very adult game. It's not aimed at teenagers. It's aimed at older people, college age and up. So I think it's a bit stupid to say, I'm uncomfortable with this so nobody else can talk about it. Human trafficking is a very real problem in modern world. Go around the globe and it's a serious problem. Prison abuse is also a serious problem. Organized crime. Those are real world things that you can address in a healthy way through fantasy. Lead a slave rebellion in the game, absolutely. Yeah, it's a work of fiction, but that's my point. Don't abuse it. I'll take it away from you, atheist. Removing it's just a way to act morally superior because they know their argument is futile. Well, I think it's detrimental, too. You're just putting yourself in a hug box. Roots doesn't have to be about history. It's about, it's a slavery story. But you can't remove the slavery and keep the story because it's an integral part of that story. And you could do that with fiction. And that's what this is. Pathfinder, none of this is real. There's no real magic users like this. There's nobody that looks like this as poorly drawn in real life. Declaring what a slap in the face, the anonymous writer ultimately declared, things like this have happened too many times. At this point, I don't think an apology is enough. I don't think editing the book to remove the offending content is enough. What, do you want reparations for a fucking RPG, you baby? My relationship with Paisio was already on shaky ground. And it continues to get shakier by the week. Well, I'll go cry about it, dude. Just stop buying their shit then. Stop going to their events. Calling on the publisher's ousting. I don't really know what it means for my career, but it certainly means that my trust in the company and any faith I had in Eric Mona are gone. Oh, so dramatic. Are you going to tell people you're leaving the conversation too? Shortly after the letter was published to Stephen's blog, it drew a response from Mona himself, who began to profusely apologize for having fallen so short of his author's expectations of me and Paisio. Oh, get down and kowtow like a bitch. Having a continuity that spans 2 decades means our understanding of the community's wants and needs can sometimes accelerate faster than our ability to reflect that in our work. And in this case, with this issue, it's clear we need to move further. Fights against slavers has been a staple of the fantasy genre for decades. Yeah, since that module in D&D. against the slave lords. When we originally conceived the Pathfinder setting, so those elements were added to the setting to allow that type of adventuring. In retrospect, that was a bad idea, a sort of original sin that continues to taint the setting for a lot of people. Okay. Addressing the Pathfinder Society organized play campaign, aforementioned slavery abolition event, the publisher noted that a great deal of the references in Absalom book are to this manumission and the resulting positive changes to the city, before lamenting how some of them refer to a handful of villains still trying to engage in the practice illegally, which is in retrospect was not a good idea. Why? You can't have criminals doing criminal shit? Are you fucking high, dude? Ultimately, Mona announced that not only would be Paizo adding a content warning to Absalom's City of Lost Omens, so that people have a chance to anticipate the content, but going forward, we plan to remove slavery from our game and setting completely. That gains nothing. What, you're going to remove orcs because somebody thinks they're black people? That's dumb. However, rather than an attempt to provide any in-game explanation for its removal, Mona declared, "We will not be writing adventures to tell the story of how this happened. We will be introducing an in-world event to facilitate the change. We're going to move on from it, period." So they're not even going to do anything to address this. It just suddenly ends. That's kind of a slap in the face to everybody else that's not bitching and moaning. Given some items currently in the pipeline, it'll take several months and a few more releases in each line before we can fully implement this new policy. So they got slavery and some upcoming stuff too. But it's clear that's a step that we need to take, and I personally should have realized it sooner. Again, I apologize to this freelancer and anyone else disappointed by this issue. We hear you, and we resolve to do better. It's never going to be enough, pussy. As of writing, the author of the anonymous letter currently remains unknown, hence the word anonymous. I think this is a bunch of people being crybaby pussies. And look, it's a rough topic to address, and not everyone's going to want to address it. That doesn't mean you don't ever address it. His name was Toby. So, yeah, this is dumb. This is just more crybaby nonsense from the RPG community, as it shows how much gaming has become a hug box for a bunch of left-wing Tumblrites. Oh, it's that time again where I shamelessly whore myself out and say, if you're enjoying the stream, like, share, and subscribe. Merry Christmas, Johnny Hellcat. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at the Streamlabs link pinned at the top, also in the description and in the chat. And as always, thank you for coming out, guys. No sacred cows are spared in my writing. Yeah, it's really difficult to address that sometimes. Some people are very sensitive, but other people are not pussies. So stop giving these people, they aren't your customers anyway. They're not. And I'd be willing to bet that freelancer wrote that article themselves because they didn't like it and they wanted to bitch about it. So, yeah, I think this is more crap that people are going to whine about and get their way for some reason. I don't understand it. If it's not content for you, don't buy it. Don't participate. But you don't get to have it both ways and then say, well, I like this, but it has to change for me specifically. That's unreasonable. World of Warcraft should have had slavery. No, that's their choice. If they want to introduce that, that's up to them. Slavery's bad, okay? Yeah. Shadowrun is getting pretty woke, I bet, too. Meanwhile, over at Bloomberg, China hits top influencer with $210 million fine over taxes. China does not like you not giving them piles of money. China slapped an unprecedented $210 million fine on a top live streamer for tax evasion, stepping up President Xi Jinping's crackdown on online influencers who have grown wildly popular in recent years. Huang Wei, also known as Vaya, was ordered to pay 1.3 billion yuan in back taxes, late fees, and fines, the State Taxation Administration said Monday in a statement on its website. She avoided taxes totaling 643 million yuan by concealing personal income and making false declarations in 2019 and 2020, the statement added. Shares in China's largest live streaming operators and services plunged in New York, with Bilibili Inc. diving 11.6%, Alibaba Group Holding Limited falling 5.8%, and Joy Inc. sliding 4.7%. Yuan issued an apology just after the punishment was announced, saying on her Twitter-like Weibo account that she felt deeply guilty. I totally accept the decision of the tax regulators who will actively collect funds to pay the fines within the deadline, she wrote. Vaya's representatives did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Does she have $200 million? If so, I am in the wrong business. The fine is the biggest yet for online salespeople like Vaya, who each night compete to convince shoppers to spend millions of dollars on items such as cosmetics, appliances, and clothing. It's like QVC. The influencer is one of the biggest stars on Alibaba's Taobao marketplace, drawing traffic and driving consumption. Government departments need to better coordinate and boost efforts to regulate the live streaming industry and crack down on tax evasion, the official Xinhua news agency said in a report on Tuesday. Using data analysis, the tax bureau in the city of Hans, who suspected Juan was evading taxes, and she failed to rectify the situation after repeated reminders. The episode signals Beijing is turning its attention to the online streaming commerce arena, which has thrived with little regulation in recent years, part of Xi's common prosperity drive to share the wealth. Yeah, how dare you get rich? The high-profile case may spook merchants and brands who rely on the format to drive sales, not just to Alibaba, but across a number of rival platforms. In September, the tax authorities announced tougher rules covering celebrities and live streamers, and last month, two of the salespeople were fined a total of $15 million for tax evasion. The Taobao and Weibo pages for Zhu Chenhuai and Lin Shenshan, are both blank now. They got disappeared. Live streaming is part variety show, part infomercial, and part group chat, a format pioneered in China that has grown more popular since the pandemic started. Live streaming sales are expected to reach more than 1.2 trillion yuan this year. They didn't pioneer this shit. Home shopping's been doing this for years. Up just 19 billion won from 2017, according to research from iMedia. Vaya has had total sales of more than 31 billion yuan in 2020, the most amongst her peers, the tech media outlet 36kr.com reported earlier. Her fine is bigger than one levied on actress Fan Bingbing in 2018. She disappeared for a while, remember? Which marked the start of the government's campaign to rein in the entertainment industry. I think she did like a year in jail. Fan and companies she was affiliated with were ordered to pay about 884 million yuan in back taxes and fines. Fan has largely disappeared from the entertainment scene since her punishment. Such high-profile rebukes from the central government usually spell the end of a celebrity's career. Everyone is equal before the law. There is no superstar or rich or powerful. No one can despise the law and hope to be lucky, the official Xinhua news agency said in a comment about Fan. Now, that chick worked in some movie. I don't remember what. I think maybe the Mulan movie. And what they do to avoid taxes in China is they take different roles. So not only are you an actor, you're also a makeup artist and an editor or a producer. And you take pay for all three of those roles. And then you can dodge some of your taxes and under these weird laws they have. But $210 million for this lady's in fees. That's pretty crazy. So, yeah, China is stepping up on smacking people down. So, yeah, something to think about if you're ever going to do business with China. Might not be a good idea to do it. Sounds about communist. You're not wrong. Feel bad for this lady, though, because she's probably going to get thrown in jail for a while. And her career will probably be destroyed, too. All right, over in comic book news, Hollywood Reporter decided to share with us that Dark Horse Comics is sold to gaming giant Embracer Group. And that means that maybe their quality will go up. DC Comics properties such as Hellboy and the Umbrella Academy are finding a new home. The indie comics publishers agreed to be sold to Embracer Group, the Swedish video game conglomerate. The deal is expected to close in early 2022. The publisher's new owner, which has 9,000 employees globally, is touting the untapped potential of the Dark Horse library, noting that 159 of its 170 of its owned properties have yet to be optioned for film or TV. Dark Horse has a first look deal with Netflix, which produces the popular Umbrella Academy adaptation, currently prepping for 2022 season 3. The publisher has projects at various stages of developments at Universal, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Sony, Amazon, and AMC. Dark Horse says it has 300 IPs to mine, including properties such as The Mask and Time Cop, which became movies in the 90s. Hellboy was adapted into 2 Guillermo del Toro directed films in the 2000s, as well as the really mediocre 2019 reboot starring David Harbour that disappointed at the box office. The sale comes as indie publishers work to mine their properties for film and television, and such giants as Netflix have shelled out millions to acquire the rights to the works of creators such as Jupiter's Legacy writer Mark Miller. Dark Horse CEO Mike Richardson, who founded the company in 1986, will remain at the helm along with current management, the company said. Dark Horse has 181 employees in office in Milwaukee, Oregon, and Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure they misspelled Milwaukee there. In addition to the publishing side, it is the home to Dark Horse Entertainment, which oversees its film and television business, and the merchandising arm, Things from Another World. So they're getting sold. And so far, it's status quo, but that will give them an influx of money. Maybe their paper quality will continue to improve because it's been largely crap for about 3 years now. So that will probably mean more video games too, based on this. Won't mind some crackdowns on insider trading. Yeah. What do you think the party will get for her kidneys? I don't know. I always say that because you think she's hot. She's kind of cute, but no, I feel bad for the citizens of China. They're getting screwed over royally. They just got this little bit of taste of capitalism, and now they're trying to yank the rug out from under them. Like, oh my gosh, I can actually move up and be more than just, a seamstress at a Nike factory. Nope, too bad, especially if you're a Uyghur. Hey, thank you, Jordan250. Have a Merry Christmas. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. That's generous of you. Thanks, man. All right. Spider-Man star Jacob Batalon. You may know him as Fat Ned Leeds. According to the Daily Mail, was motivated to lose 112 pounds with exercise and a plant-based diet after he felt ridiculous with his shirt off. That is a huge difference. He lost the weight of an entire person. Spider-Man, although the head shave thing doesn't really work for him, he looks like he's like Kojak from like 1975. You look like a 40-year-old white dude. Star Wars No Way Home star Jacob, let's not get carried away. Jacob Batalon is delving into how he managed to lose a stunning 112 pounds before appearing in the monster hit film. The 25-year-old actor revealed to Men's Health recently that he adopted a new exercise regime and is mostly stuck to plant-based foods to help shed the weight and give him more energy. He admitted to the publication that he has had desire to slim down after feeling ridiculous when he caught a glance of himself without a shirt. Jacob shared that he was motivated to get into shape in 2019 around the time that the sequel Spider-Man Far From Home was released. Even when I was doing anything physical, I found myself getting sleepy at work, And it was because of all the fast food I was eating. Yeah, fast food's shit. I gotta stop eating as much as I do. His fatigue made it difficult to walk upstairs without being out of breath. Yeah, being fat will do that. Holy shit, that chick's tall. But once he saw himself without a shirt, he decided it was time to take action. It was just ridiculous, he said of his physique. I could not believe I let myself get this far. That's a terrible picture of Zendaya. And Jake Gyllenhaal, he always looks kind of creepy to me. But this members only jacket, really not helping. And this dude must be like borderline midget. How tall is she? Is she like 6 foot? Holy shit. I always thought she was really short, which would have made him a midget. But wow, she's like a good head above him. See, he looks like a 70s pimp. He looks like Kojak disguised as a pimp. You look like a middle-aged white dude from the 70s. Grow your hair back, dude. Don't go bald until you have to. Jacob was hooked up with a trainer to help him safely and effectively shed the weight. That's good. Always do the healthy route. The new exercise regime helped him keep busy in 2020 amid the ongoing coof. Yeah, blah blah. Everybody's got to do shit during the coof. Yeah, well, let's get productive. Me. I found a lot of the light in the dark in the sense that a lot of people were suffering, and I was fortunate and lucky enough to have found my health. You're rich! Okay? A lot of people were suffering. You're not, because you're rich. You got millions of dollars for those movies. Shut the fuck up. You can hire a personal trainer. And he was very proud of his 112-pound weight loss. You should be proud. That's awesome. His usual workout, which he does 6 days per week, involves an hour of weightlifting and strength training to start, followed by half an hour of cardio exercise. Nice. The actor added that his girlfriend had introduced him to a plant-based diet. It's always a chick introducing that. Dudes introduce their women to drugs and swinging, and chicks introduce their dudes to plant-based diets and cleanses, which helped cement his health journey. And we'll get carried away on that front. On Wednesday, Jacob responded to a bevy of questions from fans in his Instagram stories, including one asked if he had become a vegan. I'm on the path. I'm trying to be mostly vegan, except when there's no vegan options. So I'm really a vegetarian vegan, which means this is probably his preacher outfit for his vegan lifestyle. Those shoes look weird. Back in August, the Marvel star was cast. I don't fucking care. He's going to be on a fat vampire TV show. Okay. It's going to be fat. I don't fucking care about that. So, yeah, he lost a bunch of weight. Good on him. It seems to be working. He probably has to do something about these man boobs that he's got going here. But that'll probably take a little more work. That might be because of the soy that he's drinking. Coop just helped me stay inside like a normal shut-in. Yeah, staying inside is kind of my go-to, so my life really hasn't changed that much. Again, women do the worst thing, right? Cheech-in mobster. Zendaya's 5'9". She's wearing heels or they're all that short. Yeah, I hope those are heels because those dudes are tiny. Skin can tighten up. That's true. That's true. Hey, Merry Christmas, Lesser. How's it going, man? Yeah, I hope this guy does live healthy, but you know, I don't think going completely plant-based is going to be all that productive. Because then you end up with a bunch of estrogen. All right. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Buttons are hard. Leave me alone. Home Alone star arrested for strangling and punching his girlfriend for giving autograph away for free. Good job, Buzz. Home Alone actor Devin Rattree was arrested on Wednesday after a warrant was issued regarding an altercation he had with his girlfriend. Rattree, 44, is being charged with 1 count of domestic assault and battery by strangulation and another count of domestic assault and battery. The charges are in connection to a report that Rattree became violent with his girlfriend and allegedly strangled her in an Oklahoma hotel room earlier this month. Ratchery's most prominent role is in the 1990 film Home Alone, in which he plays Kevin McAllister's mean older brother, Buzz McAllister. He looks like a guy named Buzz, doesn't he? The actor allegedly strangled his girlfriend after she gave away his autograph for free. I would think this dude would be tipping people with that at this point. I just autographed your paper there. Sir, we needed that autograph to make the transaction complete. That's a credit card bill. The altercation between Ratchery and his girlfriend happened after the actor had drunk a bottle of wine and over 10 shots of alcohol in 2 different locations. So he's drunk and beating his girlfriend. Good job, idiot. Ratchery and his girlfriend allegedly got into an argument at a bar after 2 women approached and asked for his autograph. Ratchery's girlfriend reportedly gave away his autograph for free, which enraged the actor. Is he really an actor? It caused the couple to get into an argument before he was upset she hadn't charged the 2 fans. The argument quickly turned violent once Ratchery and his girlfriend were back in their hotel room. The victim had trouble breathing while she was being strangled, and while the defendant's hand was over her mouth. Ratchery allegedly pushed his girlfriend onto the bed, placing one hand over her throat and another over her mouth as he applied pressure. "This is how you die," Ratchery reportedly told his girlfriend as he was choking her, according to KFOR. Wow. Eventually, she managed to break free by biting Ratchery's hand after struggling to scream for help, but before she was able to flee the hotel room, Ratchery allegedly punched her in the face. After leaving the room, the woman reportedly returned for her belongings, but upon going back, he pushed her against the desk. Why would you go back in? He already beat the shit out of you once and told you, "This is how you die." The woman had several injuries, including bruising under the left eye, marks under her right eye, marks above the left side of her lip, a bruise on her chest, and a sore arm. Spokesman for the Oklahoma City PD confirmed the actor had turned himself in and was processed through and bonded out. Ratchery had been in Oklahoma to make a guest appearance at OKC Pop Christmas Con with his girlfriend, as he was featured as one of the attractions for the 2-day event. Charges were filed against Ratchery by Assistant District Attorney Stephanie Powers. Stephanie Powers with the Oklahoma County District Court. His bond was set at $25,000 and has since been released from custody after posting bail. In a statement to TMZ, a rep for Ratchery admits the two did get into a heated argument, but said things did not escalate to violence. That was just sex, I guess. Mr. Ratchery denies he ever laid a hand on her or did anything in regards to anything like that. Yeah, so there you go. He's accused of strangulation, which, gotta admit, it's a new one, especially saying, "This is how you die." Well, I guess bitch shouldn't have given out his autograph. I don't know. Calling him a star is a stretch, right? Yeah, he probably had a total of 15 minutes of screen time through all that series. Yeah, he was barely in the movies. Why would you go back without a police escort? Because people are stupid, and she was probably drunk. Yeah, I'm sure she's probably exaggerating, but being drunk, disproportionate retribution. Yeah, right? Like, maybe she should have given him $20 and been like, "Look, we're even now. Your autograph ain't worth shit." All right, let's look at some toys. All righty. This is from Bleeding Cool. G.I. Joe reaction figures are the sleeper line you need to collect. Reaction figures make old school action figures like what Kenner used to make with their old Star Wars toys, where there's just the arm joints and the leg joints, and that's it. And then they charge you $20 for that nostalgia. G.I. Joe fans were floored when Super 7 announced they had the ability to make figures earlier this year. Ultimates are coming and they look incredible, but where my mind went was instantly the 3.75 reaction figures. Let's see, G.I. Joe Trooper. Looks like we got Snake Eyes, Scarlet. I don't know, is that an Eskimo? I don't fucking know. Regular Trooper, Cobra Commander, Destro, Baroness, and a Cobra Trooper. The first of those sets are available now, and the first wave of G.I. Joe reaction figures are hitting stores. Hasbro sent over a figure to us to look at, and I was not prepared for how much I would fall in love with it. That's gross and weird. Yeah, it's got a little blurb card like the old ones used to. A lot of the old ones were written by Larry Hama. See, they just kind of have joints there, and they look like the old Fisher-Price ones, which we had a bunch of, and they would always be like bad guys or like civilians. I so badly did not want to open this. So much of the packaging was nailed by Super 7. Yeah, the packaging does look really nice. I don't care about this guy's opinion. Just wanted to point out these things are out there. And the Snake Eyes one is blue because in the original cartoon pilot, he was wearing a blue outfit for some reason. So they decided to do that. These are just nostalgia bait, and they are really cool, but they are stupid expensive. So if you don't mind dropping $18 on a little bit of childhood nostalgia, these might be up your alley. But I don't want to spend that much money on anything. Jack must have some good toys. I did have a lot of toys as a kid, a lot more than I think I probably deserved, but I didn't have a lot of friends. So nobody came over and stole my toys or fucked with my stuff. So that was kind of cool. I think my parents felt bad for me. They're like, just give them some toys, I'll shut up. Wasn't interested in G.I. Joe's all about He-Man, Masters of the Universe, She-Ra too. I had a ton of Masters of the Universe stuff and Star Wars stuff. I had some G.I. Joe, but not a whole lot. And they'd have team-ups with the Star Wars guys a lot. But I had like a little G.I. Joe phase, but I only ever had a couple of vehicles. Oh, Snow Job. Thank you, Useless. Couldn't think of his name. But I should have known with a name like Snow Job, am I right? But I had a ton of Masters of the Universe stuff. That's what everybody got me for like a couple of birthdays and Christmases. So I had both Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain. I had most of the vehicles, bunch of the guys. And speaking of which, if you're a patron, check out the patron video. I posted an extra one today. The special 1000th video for Roll for Sandy. Tons of Batman and TMNT toys. I had like one TMNT figure somebody gave me, but I was like 19 when I got them. I'm like, what do I do with this? Oh, I did not know that, Assassin. Played sports with all the neighborhood kids, but that's because I don't think I had any toys to play with. Did get the occasional G.I. Joe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Nice. Swear my older cousin had a Vader with a blue-green lightsaber. If you only knew then, right? TMNT and Transformers, yeah. I only ever had like one actual real Transformer and then a couple of like these little $5 ones that were like, I don't know, they were almost like a sad knockoff brand, but they were legit Transformers, but they weren't the official version. You know, you had like the big ones, and then they had these like almost a miniatures line of them. Forget what they were called, but they were just like smaller versions of them. Ninja Turtles. Yeah, a lot of you guys are pretty significantly younger than me. Never got Snake Mountain. Still salty about it. Don't worry. They might release one with the new Origins line. They re-released the Castle Grayskull. It's a new version of it, but it's very, very faithful to the original. But they might be doing Snake Mountain too, which I really hope they do. And then you could get one. And I hope they include the voice changer. Sky Striker because F-14 Tomcat, right? I never got Sky Striker. I always thought those were cool. The G.I. Joe figures were always more expensive than the Star Wars figures in my area. Because they were like $3 a piece, whereas the G.I. Joes, or I'm sorry, the Star Wars figures were like $1.50. So we got a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff instead because it was cheaper and we liked it. So a couple of Tonka trucks, all metal, nice. Yeah, the Inhumanoids toys were badass. I didn't care about the hero guys, but the monsters would have been awesome to play with. My brother had a Megatron. Nice. Name brand and knockoff. Yeah, we had some knockoff G.I. Joe, or not G.I. Joe. We had a couple of those, like the Kmart brand ones. And then we had the knockoff, like GoBot looking ones that we'd get at like flea markets and stuff for $1. I never had any GoBots, ironically. I don't think. Yeah, I'm 37. Yeah, you're 10 years younger than me. Yeah. GoBots for the win. Yeah, I don't think I had any GoBots. I thought some of them looked kind of cool, like the lead jet guy, the F-14. He looked really cool. But never really had any of those. I knew some people that did, but I just never got any. Wasn't really a big thing for me, but I knew people that really loved them. A bunch of Star Wars toys still open. Nice. Those are worth some money now. Wheeled Warriors. Yeah, Jason the Wheeled Warriors. And we had a couple of Thundercats figures floating around. That was near the end of my toy playing era. Never had any Micro Machines. Yeah, I remember that, God Ratty. Yeah. Leader 1. Yeah, he was F-15. That's right. And let's see, what else do we have? There was Brave Star. I think I had one toy from that we got at a garage sale. And what was the knockoff He-Man? Black Star, I think it was called. And that had glow-in-the-dark weapons. And I had like 4 or 5 of those after that kind of fell out of favor because they were on clearance. And then there was one with like hologram figures that were kind of neat. I don't remember what that line was called. But then there was like a bunch of like generic He-Man type figures because you had like Warlord and a couple others of those that were just cheap toys, but they were like knockoff He-Mans too. Transformer Jacticon. Maybe, I don't know. How's it going, Evil One? Really miss my Orko with the ripcord. I had Orko. It came with like the little discs. I don't think he had a ripcord, but I had the Road Ripper had a ripcord. I remember that. I had that one. A bunch of my stuff got destroyed in the floods, unfortunately, over the years. How much of the old He-Man VHS I have one from Golden Books? I don't know. You'd have to look that up on eBay and look at completed auctions. Merry Christmas, Bo. All right, let's get back into it, or I'll be here and doing nostalgia all night. From ICV2, Games Workshop reveals Space Marine Captain miniature for Warhammer 40k. Coming soon to pre-order. A new version of this miniature was previously included in the Dark Imperium box set, but now it's headed to market as a solo figure. The new version of this miniature can now wield a chainsword or a power fist and has a new servo skull. This kit also comes with a choice of heads for the captain. They haven't told us how much, so that means $50. But it does look pretty cool. But personally, I like the look of it, but I wouldn't go with the human head. I'd go with this version because the Space Marine helmets are way cooler. Sword looks really badass. I'd probably go with the power fist too. But I don't think I'd go with the chain sword. I'd go with the regular sword. But the power fist with this gun and this little skull thing, those look pretty fucking sweet. But I'd go with this head. So I thought that looked really cool. I know we got some 40k players out there. Are you buying a knockoff? No, I'm not buying this at all. This hobby's way too fucking overpriced for me. I couldn't afford to get into GW anymore. $6 million man in the motorcycle rev up Evil Knievel. Oh, I always wanted that. I knew a kid that had that. I think one of my cousins had it too, but it always looked so cool. The canyon jump one. I collected rocks. Well, that's a kind of a better resale value. I mean, free. Air Dazed Space Toys. They shot air-powered missiles. Oh, I don't remember what those were. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what they're called. Beast Wars was amazing. And I never saw it. That was after my time. Turned 41 2 weeks ago, but always in a rural area. Harder to find newer toys. Oh, I know that feeling, dude. Some of my favorite toys were Dino Riders. Oh, I remember those. Yeah, you find amazing stuff at garage sales sometimes. It's really cool. It used to be anyway. Thanks to things like eBay, it's kind of ruined the ability to find awesome stuff dirt cheap. But every now and then you'll go to somebody's house that just doesn't give a shit. And they're like, buy it, whatever. Original He-Man's worth about $20. For normal wear and tear, mint VHS could go for $100 to $300 depending on the VHS. Holy shit, dude. 40K is a money fleecing scheme. Yep, you're not wrong. I had cool rocks. I didn't have like, oh, this is a rare rock. I just was like, this one's cool. If it helps the eye for $6 million man sucked out and the bike never set on the rev thing and fall off. Oh, that sucks. I had a $6 million man figure, one of the 12-inch ones that you could look through the back of one of his eyes and it would be the bionic vision. I loved that figure. And my brother had the space capsule that opened up into like a med bay where you could work on him. And that thing was cool as shit. Tyco Turbo Train. You know, I never got that many Hot Wheels cars, but they had some awesome stuff for those things. If you were big into race cars or slot cars, you could find awesome stuff. And it was never that expensive. I didn't play 40K. I'm learning the lore. Should finish in a few years. Yeah, if you're lucky. Yeah, the books are great, especially the Dan Abnett books. That's why I love Necromunda. It's cheaper, gang-based Warhammer. Yeah, Necromunda is a lot of fun. And Mordheim was a fantasy version of that. That was pretty fun too. Original My Pet Monster. I never had one of those. And the My Buddy thing really creeped me out. And I'm pretty sure that was the inspiration for Chucky. Somebody want to take care of that. Who Space Marines lift their arms above their heads with those ridiculous? I had no idea, dude. Thank you, Keever. Was going for that now. Might be more with people wanting it over the new stuff. Yeah, a lot of the new stuff is just kind of bland. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the retro lines coming back. Because they're doing a retro line of G.I. Joe stuff. And even some of the Marvel stuff is getting these similar to the reaction lines. I've got a couple of them here, actually, that patrons will be getting to see. But they're redoing Kenner as these like sort of retro lines. They call it Marvel Legends. And they only move their arms and legs, but they're fun little toys. And I hope they come out with vehicles for them because they're pretty awesome. And you've also got some G.I. Joe ones that are coming out. They're like $12 or $13. They released the real Ghostbusters figures and Masters of the Universe Origins, of course. I was planning to get into actually buying and painting 40K, but they came out with crappy Primaris lore and all the new lores antithetical to the original. Yeah, they've really shot it down, Evolved. It's really lazy. Glowworms might be my personal favorite nostalgia toy. I loved anything that glowed in the dark as a kid. I thought those were the coolest toys ever. And Zartan, because he changed colors in the sun. It's got Hot Wheels racetrack till parents found they could spank you with the track. Oh, that hurt like a motherfucker too. Yeah, it's kind of hard to go back and play with it after you got beat by it. All right. Speaking of nostalgia, though, they did re-release the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys from the 90s. The first wave of them are in Walmarts right now. I haven't seen them anywhere else, but they're only like $13. I thought they'd be more because like the Masters of the Universe ones are between 15 and 20, depending on where you get them. So be aware of that too, because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle creator may bring the Turtles to the Marvel Universe in Elektra story. This is from Screen Rant. Now, keep in mind that Eastman and Laird no longer own the Turtles, but they have a weird agreement that was drawn up when they sold it to Nickelodeon that they could still publish a certain amount of stories every year. The creators of the creators of the Turtles have famously tied the Turtles' origin to the story of Daredevil, and now Marvel is teasing potential tie-in with Elektra for the next year. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have always been closely connected with the story of Daredevil. Yeah, they were a pastiche. But one of their creators writing for Marvel, it was only a matter of time before their connection would be referenced on the page. In the solicit for the upcoming Elektra comic, plenty of not-so-subtle references to the Turtles were dropped, leading to speculation they may be making their debut in Marvel Comics soon. Dating back to their origin, the Turtles have been a loose parody of Daredevil. In their debut, the Turtles were exposed to chemicals in a sewer from the same spill that blinded a young Matt Murdock. That was always the joke. Their mentor, Master Splinter, is a play on Stick, Murdoch's mentor figure. Even the evil team of ninjas they face off with, the Foot Clan, is a nod to the ninja assassins, the Hand. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have crossed over with a bevy of other universes, including DC, the Power Rangers, and the Ghostbusters, but have never made an official appearance in the Marvel Universe. That Power Ranger crossover was shockingly great. But if Marvel teases are to be believed, that may change very soon. I don't know why they're doing it with Elektra Daredevil, not real Matt Murdock Daredevil. Eastman, one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles creators, is a writer on issue 4 of the upcoming Elektra Black, White, and Blood series. In the official solicit for the issue released by Marvel, they don't shy away from this. Kevin Eastman's fondness for the Marvel Universe is the stuff of legend. Here he comes to turn Hell's Kitchen into his playground, and his result are as radical as you'd expect. Cowabunga, let's get pizza. If these aren't direct references to the Heroes in a Half Shell, that's one truly strange ad for what's been a dark and violent miniseries. Starting with Wolverine, the Black and White and Blood series takes a closer look at the origins and histories of select Marvel characters, with the pages completely colored in black, white, and red. With Daredevil and by association Elektra having a bloody and violent history through the comics, it's a natural fit. I don't know, they might just be teasing us to try and bring you in for Kevin Eastman, but we always have the possibility that they're actually going to do this. Let's see. But the pizza-loving Turtles have had plenty of dark storylines themselves, including the currently running Last Ronin, also by Eastman, as well as Peter Laird, Tom Waltz, Ben Bishop, somebody I can't pronounce, and Isaac somebody, wherein one Ninja Turtle is the sole survivor left avenging the deaths of his brothers. It's very much the Dark Knight of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and if you haven't read it, it's pretty interesting. But are the Turtles coming to Marvel Comics? Probably not, but we can always hope. Yeah, they've teamed up with Batman in what are essentially side stories. I can't English today, dude. No. Stretch Armstrong leaves out the whole. Why haven't they've teamed up with DC characters, but never Marvel. So yeah, they've teamed up with Batman in an Elseworld story or 4, but and Usagi Yojimbo's teamed up with them several times. So yeah. Just never Marvel characters. So that might change. I suspect that is just an attempt to sell more issues. And Eastman's not a bad writer, so I don't have a problem with that part. But I think it might be a bit misleading. What's going on in chat here? Get spanked. I have a few 80s Hot Wheels around here somewhere. Yeah, there's some people that really collect the Hot Wheels stuff, and I never understood it, but it's a whole subculture that I'm really not familiar with. Somebody offered to sell me their entire collection one time for a couple $100, and I'm like, I don't know what these are worth, because as far as I know, they're $1 each. Hey James, how you doing, man? Merry Christmas. It's a comic, not the MCU. Well, that's too bad. No, it's not going to be the movies. It's going to be the comics. Sagi being a character in the cartoon. Yep. He's Eastman and Laird did a lot with Stan Sakai back in the day, and even with Dave Sim, they had a crossover in issue 8 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Cerebus. Oh, no worries, dude. No worries. All right, let's take a look at bounding into comics again. Peter Dinklage claims backlash to Game of Thrones was because people wanted the pretty white people to ride off into the sunset together. Did that get your PP touch, Peter Dinklage? Because you came out as super woke? Huh? Did it? Did they give you little internet pats? Idiot. Peter Dinklage, who played Tyrion Lannister, blah, 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 claimed backlash. I just read that. Dinklage's comments come in a wide-ranging interview discussing his latest film, Cyrano, as well as Game of Thrones. I think Peter Dinklage is a very good actor. I don't think he needs to be doing this woke crap. New York Times' Kyle Buchanan brought up Game of Thrones, asking Dinklage, George R.R. Martin wanted Game of Thrones to go off for 2 more seasons. Do you think it should have, or was that the right time to end it? The actor responded, it was the right time, no less, no more. You don't want to wear out your welcome, although I'm not sure that show could have. I think people were pretty shitting on it by the end there. Maybe if Martin had finished his last book, which I don't think he still has finished, then maybe it would have been a better ending. Dinklage then provided his opinion on why there was so much backlash to the show's ending, saying, but I think the reason there was some backlash about it, the ending is because they were angry at us for breaking up with them. We were going off the air and they didn't know what to do with their Sunday nights anymore. They wanted more, so they backlashed about that. He then asserted we had to end when we did because that was the show was really good and what was breaking preconceived notions. Villains become heroes and heroes become villains. Oh, as my expectations subverted again. I don't know that there were any heroes in that show. If you know your history, when you track the progress of tyrants, they don't start off as tyrants. I'm talking about, spoiler alert, what happened at the end. Blah, blah, corruption, blah, pseudo-philosophy. He then has to follow up. I think some people really did want a happily ever after ending, even though Game of Thrones told us that was not the show from the very beginning. Dinklage answered, they wanted the pretty white people right off into the sunset together. By the way, it's fiction. There's dragons in it. Move on. Laughs. No, the show subverts what you think, but that's what I love about it. I don't really think it subverts what you think, unless you're dumb enough to think that this is a happy, sunshiny world. So that's a bit silly. Yeah, it's called Game of Thrones, but by the end, the whole dialogue where people would approach me on the street was, what's going on who's going to be on the throne? I don't know what their takeaway of the show meaning more than that. So he thinks everybody's an idiot. Because some idiots came up to talk to him. He then provided an example. One of my favorite moments was when the dragon burned the throne. All right, let's not get too heavy into spoilers. Nobody cares about Rotten Tomatoes score. Yeah, so he's like, pretty white people. I get woke points for that, right? Right? Shut up. Show ended. Fuck you. Nobody cares. People get upset because they liked the show. The last season exception, obviously, because a lot of people hated that season. But your show ended and people moved on with their fucking lives. People were... Peter Dinklage is a midget, so I get why he plays woke, but he's an amazing actor. He is a very underrated actor. And, Death at a Funeral was one of the best movies he's ever been in. George R. R. Martin will never finish the book. Gary from Neurotic pegged him good on lazy work ethic and fear of woke backlash. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think he's ever going to finish the series. And it's probably because he's afraid of backlash. And he seems very lazy. There's no reason for him not to have finished that by now. Absolutely none. He should have finished it during the peak of the show and given the creative team something to work with. It's not like he's not going to make money off of it for the rest of his life. Yeah, the English version, Evil One, not the shitty remake. Yeah, the wokeists around him are probably influencing him. It's just disappointing. It's always disappointing to see people go woke. Especially if they don't believe it. I don't know if he believes it or not. He probably does, indoctrinated into the Hollywood cult and all that. But he might think they're going to mistake him for a little kid and try and butt bone him. So that might be a survival tactic. Wizards of the Coast announces Magic the Gathering brand collaboration with Post Malone. Oh, the guy that mumbles all the fucking time? What the fuck? Wizards of the Coast announced this to promote Friday Night Magic. The return of OP to gaming stores in 2021 will be followed by a year-long celebration of Magic's return to stores involving a partnership with Magic celebrity superfan Post Malone. Although the full nature of the partnership has not been disclosed, they're still trying to figure out what the hell they're doing. It will involve promoting the Friday Night Magic program as more stores return to OP as the coup winds down. Well, I don't know. We're all supposed to be afraid of Omicron now. You'd be hard-pressed to find a bigger fan of Magic the Gathering than Post Malone, said Nathan Stewart, head of franchise marketing at WOTC. As a fan for years, he knows just how much Friday Night Magic means to players. Yeah, this doesn't sound scripted at all. We're thrilled to collaborate with Posty in ways that will allow his signature style, talent, and love of the game to combine in ways fans will never forget. Malone's relationship to Magic to this point has been a player, a collector, and a social influencer. Sadly, on my taxes, I'm a social media influencer, so that means nothing. That's just a series of words glued together for tax purposes. Earlier this year, Malone was reported to have spent thousands of dollars at Frank & Son's collectible show. With his announcement, WOTC now appears to be looking to leverage Malone's star influence and official capacity to promote Magic the Gathering brand. This is not new. Remember, they did team up with Vin Diesel to promote Dungeons & Dragons back in like 3.5 or 3. Hey, Straight Sith Mail, how you doing, man? I didn't know it was a person. Yeah, he's air quotes musician. And I never thought he was particularly good. He thinks he is, though. And a lot of people seem to want to think he is. But there's also people on YouTube that have recreated entire albums of his where he basically just auto-tuned and used some program to make music. And it's really sad to watch. So that's a thing that's happening out there in the world, I guess. But we are at that time again where I shill like a whore. If you like the show, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing so you don't miss future awesome streams like these. And if you want to throw me a couple bucks, there is the Streamlabs link. It's also pinned at the top of the chat and in the description. Blarg, I have a headache. Sorry to hear that, Mike. I blame Post Malone for your headache. But since we were talking about Games Workshop earlier, let's revisit that. From my CV2, Games Workshop will reprint Warhammer Quest Cursed City in 2022. Also, new expansions incoming. The board game sold out very quickly when it was first released in Q2 of 2021. I've heard great things about this game, but I've never played it. The game was popular because it featured some amazing Warhammer fantasy sculpts as well as engaging cooperative gameplay. Also, the new printing will be accompanied by expansions so players can continue the adventure started in the original game. So let's see. Look at the tiling here. Looks really cool. The minis look pretty good. I'm not painting this shit though. If I end up buying this, that's all the pictures they gave us. It's weak. Look, Gene Stealers. So should be pretty cool. I always liked Warhammer Quest, and this looks pretty fucking badass. I like Magic. I want them to do well, but what cost? Oh, yeah, it's always expensive, dude. This shit's always pricey. In 1 minute, it'll be the 26th for me. So, yeah, no word on how much, but I'm guessing it'll probably be $200. Pay a real artist to paint them. Yeah. I would definitely rather buy painted minis. I'm not doing that. All right. Let's see here. Let's talk about the mangas, because I know some of you folks read them. This is Green Rant. Manga has always been political. Western readers just never realized it. When Marvel Comics introduced a version of MODOK modeled after then presidential candidate Donald Trump, many were quick to contrast this to the perceived apolitical nature of manga. No, we just don't want ham-fisted politics in our comic books of any kind. We're not saying comics aren't political, and some of them have been, but they don't need to be, and they don't need to slap you in the face with their cock for it to happen either. Common refrain among some Western manga fans is that the medium's success is tied to its lack of apparent political messages. The key word being apparent. They're not wedged it in all the time. Plus, it's if the political messaging is there, it's foreign, so we don't fucking know the context, you idiot. Despite this, nothing could be further from the truth, you dumb rubes. A closer look at many of Japan's most influential manga reveals a deep well of political themes, messages, and imagery. Far from a new development, politics has been present in manga since the medium's earliest days, with classics like Kimba the White Lion. That's called The Lion King. Blackjack and Phoenix. Osamu Tezuka is widely regarded as the father of manga. However, it's Astro Boy that is truly his defining work. Somehow combining the cute cartoons of Disney and the brave heroics of American superheroes, Astro Boy is considered one of the very first modern manga. It was also unapologetically political. Known for being anti-war and pro-environment, Tezuka weaved these themes into Astro Boy. For manga fans who think these themes are too subtle or too general to really qualify as political, one story should remove all doubt. The 1969 Angel of Vietnam by Tezuka sees Astro Boy protecting a Vietnam village from American forces during the height of America's involvement in the Vietnam War. Oh, so he's harboring the enemy, is what you're saying. One well-known creator, clearly influenced by the work of Tezuka's acclaimed director, Hayao Mizuki. Though most Western readers know him for his breathtaking films, he was also a mangaka for quite some time. His magnum opus, Something of the Valley of the Wind, contains many of the themes which have defined his career, much like Tezuka. Mizuki, used the medium of manga to portray the futility of war and the importance of respecting the environment. The series follows the eponymous character in a post-apocalyptic world destroyed by pollution. Far from something easy to ignore, the themes of environmentalism and humanity's folly in trying to control the environment are absolutely vital to the story. To ignore the dire political message is basically to not engage with the story at all. In this similar vein are the politics of cyberpunk classic Akira, overrated. The manga by Katsuro Otomo was a critique of Japan's society in the 1980s. The manga's setting, Neo Tokyo, is a city overrun in equal measures with gang violence and a dangerously militarized police force. The key plot point in the manga is the Japanese government's building of an Olympic stadium. Given the absurd levels of poverty and destitution the people of Neo Tokyo face, the obvious conclusion readers are meant to draw is that the stadium is a waste of money. Beyond that jab at the differing priorities of the government and its people, Akira overtly tackles hot-button issues such as youth violence, economic inequality, and police brutality. All three classic manga use then current events in the Japanese political landscape of their time to craft impressive and epic stories that are still Okay, let's stop right there. You can have overtly political stories that are well done. I'm not disputing that. I'm saying most of the political stuff they're putting out now is total dog shit. And it's not subtle. Whereas in Akira, even though I hate that movie because I think it's overrated trash fire, the story is a little ham-fisted, but it's not as bad as a lot of the like Orange Man bad that we get now. It was at least well written. Big surprise, Japan is an ethno state, right? By a wide variety of political takes and manga, it's not all leftist trash that Hollywood Utermensch is unhappy. Yeah, that's what they're trying to justify this by saying, look, everything is the same as what we do. And it's not. Toy Story had politics in it, you're right. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it's subtle and that the messaging may be there, but they're not making it like you have to believe what we believe, like we're seeing in modern American comics. Yes, a lot of these are political, but you can have politics that's entertaining and you can have different perspectives. And manga, like somebody just said, it's got a wide variety of perspectives in it. So nobody takes issue with that. They take issue with the storytelling of it, not the ham-fisted, not the political issue itself. Politics is going to be in there, and people let their politics bleed through. But you can craft a good story, use allegory and metaphor. Science fiction is notorious for this. They take a modern issue and set it in the far future, and then you can tell a allegory about what is happening in the modern era and your perspective on it. It's a conflagration of themes and propaganda. Yes, there's a much bigger difference between themes and propaganda than they want you to believe. What they're putting out now are effectively chick tracts that cannot help but bludgeon you with the message. They're not subtle about it. There's no sense of story building or characterization. It's just, this is the message I want you to get. Yeah, and the overtly woke crap, yeah. Attack on Titan should be enough to display any notions that manga is some mythical apolitical medium. No. Okay. Not everything has to be political, though, is the point. They're not saying that manga is apolitical as a medium. They're saying that it has less overt politics in it. And the politics that are in it are, well, they're well done, quite frankly. Or they're better. And it's not just politics. You can find manga that aren't political. Jack, because it's one-sided in the States as far as comic writers go. Yeah. They're trying to say that manga is exactly the same and that they're on the same footing, and they're not. Manga has a diversity of opinions and a diversity of talent pool. Western comics do not anymore. They have shunned anyone that doesn't have extreme far left opinions. And although they're pointing a few out here that are blatantly political, they are not the type of politics in that we see in the US. Oh, look, a Trump allegory. Who fucking cares? First of all, that doesn't really look like Trump, but yeah. A parody of Trump and being too cowardly to use it. He didn't use the death note. I would think that would actually show some restraint. Yeah, whatever. I'll drop this link in. This is already pissing me off because these people have to justify their politics their way, and to justify it, they have to justify their politics through comparison and saying that, look, there was a political story here, this one story or this one manga, when they're doing this to all of Western comics, except for the very tiny indie publishers. So it's not a fair comparison. It's not. It's egregious lying woke bullshit. Yeah, and they have a much bigger diversity of opinion in manga. We just don't want you to bludgeon us over the head with your lazy politics, people. All right, let's get on with it. I'm getting tired. I need a nap. I'm old. Marvel Comics changed Punisher's logo. Woke politics or money? It's politics. This is from Bleeding Fool. This is the new Punisher symbol, you guys. Isn't it awesome? It doesn't look anything like that one that's on the Mandalorian's armor. Nope, not at all. Yesterday, this is from a few days ago, 21st. Marvel Comics announced an all-new Punisher series would be written by Jason Aaron, the art team of Jesus Saez and Paul Acita. Marvel's marketing department is billing the Prestige series as definitive culmination of Frank Castle's journey in the Marvel Universe, and say they plan to pull out all the stops for it. They're probably going to kill him off. Sayers is set to draw the present-day journey of the character. Why? Well, whatever his name is, line art will focus on flashback. Series will be changing Frank Castle's iconic brand after what they say is his involvement in real-world controversies over the past few years, likely alluding to the U.S. military branding their vehicles with the logo and the popularity of the logo among police officers and militia. Marvel Comics really seems to hate cops and soldiers. Jerry Conway, Ross Drew, Frank Giacolia, and Dave Hunt introduced the Punisher nearly 5 decades ago in Amazing Spider-Man 129. The new series will hit stands in March 2020. No, I think you mean 2022. And feature 13 oversized issues that run monthly until the character's 50th anniversary. Since his first appearance in 1973, the Punisher's increased in popularity, but only in recent years has been considered one of the most controversial characters in comics. Because they've gone so far left-wing, they don't know what to do with him, and therefore they consider him controversial. Should we abandon the American flag too? The seditionists also wore that symbol. I don't know who this comics tropes guy is, but he seems like kind of a puss. I think there's a B in here. Anyway, looks like Marvel's editor-in-chief, C.B. Cebulski, may have decided to go along with the woke mob after all. There's a surprise. Cebulski just bends over for whatever the whimsies are. He's so afraid of it. They're going to make the Punisher agent? No, I think they're going to kill him. If they keep him, they're going to kill him and make him a black trans woman. Hey, Merry Christmas, Frosted. How's it going? Pretty much the same design. Yeah. Original Jetfire Transformer was awesome. Yeah. As a former Marine, the Punisher character is known for pursuing his own brand of justice, murdering criminals that he believes live outside the law. In recent years, Conway has denounced the use of the logo among military and police, saying it the popularity of the character by gun-toting soldiers and militiamen is uncomfortable, if not depressing. Well, fuck you, you crybaby. Speaking to Time magazine in 2015, Conway said, "I was an anti-war person, argued against it, and certainly wrote against it," says Conway, who was a 21-year-old when he invented the character. At the time, he filed for conscientious objector status before being excused from the draft for the Vietnam War on medical grounds. We'd probably be considered the weak-kneed hippies they'd want to punch out. Perhaps the strangest thing for Conway is how popular the Punisher has become despite the character's moral ambiguity and violent actions. It's fantasy, right? You know, the Punisher's not a real person who has ever killed anyone. People wearing t-shirts in the skull emblem regularly approach Conway at comic conventions, proclaiming the Punisher as their favorite character. In my mind, he's not a good guy, said Conway. Neither's Venom, but people love Venom. Eisner award-winning writer Mike Barron sees it differently, believing the adoption by military and law enforcement seems more like a natural progression for the character. Unlike Conway, Barron wrote the first 5 years of the character's ongoing original comic series for Marvel beginning in 1987. Great series. Since the Punisher was the most prominent military veteran in comics, Mike frequently spotlighted the Punisher's military service over the course of the 60 or so issues he wrote for Marvel Comics. Human nature doesn't change, Barron said. The reason the Punisher was popular is the same reason that a Robin Hood or a Paul Kersey, portrayed by Charles Bronson in Death Wish, was popular. People always want a strong protector. It's only in the hermetically sealed world of the woke that a strong protector is offensive. And as usual, Mike Barron is correct. During the period Barron wrote the character, the Punisher became increasingly popular. Mike even recalls that the first fan letter from an active service member came in Punisher number 8, and a note mostly talking about the choice of weapons that the Punisher used. Yeah, here's that letter reprinted very poorly. Barron added, "I am very happy and proud that our nation's defenders use that logo and encourage them to do so." Chris Kyle, the late Navy SEAL, whose autobiography, American Sniper, was later adapted by Clint Eastwood, who discussed the use of the logo by the U.S. military. Kyle said he and his fellow servicemen and women embraced the Punisher during their time in Iraq because the character righted wrongs. He killed bad guys. He made wrongdoers fear him. We spray painted the Punisher logo on our Hummers and body armor and our helmets and all our guns. We spray painted it on every building and wall we could. We wanted our enemies to know we were here and we wanted to we want to fuck with you. Like, that's not a white supremacist here. That dude's brown. There's been no official confirmation on whether the logo changed in response to the current political climate or because it's just easier to trademark. No, they had no problem trademarking the previous logo. Or what the nature or longevity of the change will be. It's worth noting that Marvel is trademarking the new logo across multiple product types, with the culmination of the series ending during the character's 50th anniversary, so it's quite likely Marvel plans to keep the new logo design. As for the story itself, Marvel says Frank Castle becomes a warlord of the Hand and reportedly directly to the Beast. The new series is also Jason Aaron's first return to the character since he penned the Punisher Max series for 22 issues between 2010 and 2012. That series featured art by the late Steve Dillon. Yeah, back when Jason Aaron wasn't a total puss bag. Now he uses swords too, by the way. No guns for old Punisher here. Look at this shit art too. What is this? This is crap. This looks like it was added on later, like photoshopped in later. Yeah. Punisher writers weigh in on social media about the story. This guy just said, damn. Yeah. I think this is dumb. It's lazy. It shows Marvel's lack of originality because this is a really stupid design. This looks like two different logos stuck together. And what the hell is this supposed to be? I know it's supposed to be Asian theme or whatever, but that's fucking dumb looking. That thing is way too big. Should dial that down a little so that it looked more like devil horns, like the samurai mask would look. This is fucking stupid. Captain America was army. They did not have the Marines assembled at that point. So the Punisher is no humor Deadpool. Yeah, pretty much. But he's way more violent. Using a sword is more violent than bullets. That's a hate fact. Why would you use swords when guns are quicker and more effective? Yeah, right? Doing old art styles we all dislike. Yeah, everything about this is lazy. I hate it. I think it's stupid. And they're devaluing their own brand by doing stuff like this. But again, Marvel is so incredibly woke, they literally do not know how to handle a character like this. So a character that kills people because he sees himself as an avenging angel, they literally do not understand that. It's so far outside of their worldview, it breaks them mentally. All right, let's talk about the Matrix. Swords and arrows go through bulletproof armor. Yeah, well, that's beside the point, I guess, to them. So I watched The Matrix, and there may be some spoilers in the next article, and I'm probably going to give some spoilers in the next couple moments here. But we're going to read this article, and then I'm going to give my review of the movie. Making him a warlord. Yeah. That Frosted, he's just head commie. That's all. Yeah, it does kind of remind me of the Shredder's helmet now that you say that, Beth. That's a good point. Oh, they have no understanding of weapons at all. But they're a bunch of pussbags that don't understand anything outside of their bullshit wokeness. So since we're going to talk Matrix, stop back in like 5 minutes if you don't want any spoilers. I'm going to try not to give too many spoilers, but I don't know if this article has any or not because I don't remember because it's not that memorable. But she's... what's this? Punisher might be one character they won't make black. He's a criminal, goes around gunning people down, won't be very PC. That's true, but I won't put it past him to be that tone deaf. The Matrix Resurrection writer reveals film seeks to reclaim the Red Pill after it was kidnapped by the right wing. According to the Matrix Resurrections writer Alexander Heman, I don't know, and David Mitchell, one of the many politically motivated goals when approaching the script for Lana Wachowski's latest entry in the cyberpunk franchise. Cyberpunk's a generous assessment, was to reclaim the trope of the red pill after, in their opinion, it was kidnapped by the right wing. He-Man, author of The Lazarus Project, and Mitchell, original book author Cloud Atlas, revealed the political lens through which they wrote The Matrix Resurrection during an interview with the AV Club given in promotion of the film's release, opining that Resurrections is much more specific in its aims, a very personal film that touches upon real-world topics as Cambridge Analytica precursors to the metaverse, social media radicalization. The AV Club staffer reporter Matt Shimkowitz asked the pair of writers if said topics were things they were talking about while writing the film, to which Heyman replied, "We were aware because you bring it into the pit," the self-ascribed name for Heyman, Mitchell, and Wachowski's writing collective. All that's happening in the world, so we talked about specific things. Things like the red pill, blue pill trope, or meme, and how it was kidnapped by the right wing. The verb to red pill, and so on. So one thing we're mindful of is how to reclaim that trope to renew the meaning of the red pill, blue pill. Obviously, we weren't involved, but the first Matrix was so present in the world, well, also being ahead of its time. Was it really, though? So with this movie, too, we were deeply embedded in the time, early 2019, but we were also thinking about the future. I had to catch up with them on that. What's-his-face then noted the scenes with the analyst, Neil Patrick Harris, were especially pointed as he's using some of the terminology of right-wing radicalization, like the conservative retort, facts don't care about your feeling, leading him to ask Herman and Mitchell, was it empowering to write a rebuttal to the weaponization of Lana and Lily's work? The first answer Mitchell posited, I suppose the short answer is yes. I don't see myself as a frontline fighter in the culture war. This movie was nothing but culture war. But you also want your work to mean something, to have an ethical edge. One of the many reasons I'm proud Resurrections is it does have that blah. I can't fucking read. What I'm trying to say is I think the film has integrity and perhaps is the source of the integrity. Taking his turn to speak, He-Man asserted, I concur. There is a bit of difference between my and Mr. Mitchell's situation in that, well, he's a kinder person, so he doesn't get angry as much, but largely because I live in the United States. Oh, the cesspool of hate and villainy. The pit is kind of a kind and warm space, declared He-Man. We don't argue or get angry with each other, but I am infused with the need to confront some of the things that are taking place in this country. That was the case before and after. Oh, so edgy. Can you just feel the edge? Oh my gosh, it's scary edgy. He then clarified, but we did not set up to get into arguments with right-wingers. Oh, you absolutely did with this movie. You tried so hard, but it's laughably bad. I think at some point there was a joke about red pill, blue pill, and Lana decided she did not want to have any credence to that position, even a semblance of dialogue with that. There's nothing to talk about with that. It's like having debates with creationists, Shimkus said. By inviting them to the podium, it's a tacit endorsement of the ideas up for debate. Oh, debate's not okay. In conclusion to their discussion of the film's politics, He-Man admittedly told Shimkowitz, whatever, my personal position is that I don't discuss things with Nazis and fascists. There's nothing to talk about, he maintained. One of us is going to be left standing, and I want it to be me and my people. So, let's talk about this movie. Did they seriously say facts don't care about your feelings? It's very similar to that, yeah. Yeah, Duck Dog. They totally ripped off 3 shitty movies out of William Gibson's ideas. I mean, they pretty much just read Burning Chrome and Neuromancer and were like, let's steal that. North Korea or China? Sadly, probably not, Paul. Although I'm not opposed. So, this film is hipster self-indulgence. There's zero subtlety. They constantly hammer you with political messaging. What's sad is it was still done better than the numbers 2 and 3, but that's a very low bar. Like, special effects wise, it was fine. Some of the special effects looked a little off to me. And now I watched it on HBO Max because I'm not going to the theater to give them more money for this turd fest. But I have never seen a movie this up its own ass that wasn't a straight up religious movie. This was secular religious propaganda. And I don't know any other way to say that. It was so full of itself. And there were so many flashback scenes disguised as plot. It was so pathetic. Everything about this movie was messaging. And the red pill, blue pill thing, they didn't really pull that off the way they think they did. I don't think they took it back at all. And I don't think you could at this point. I think they've pretty much lost that to the meme world. But this movie was just a sheer self-indulgence. And the attempts at fan service were sad and pathetic. You've got the blue-haired Mary Sue with the sides of her head shaved that was just trying to save internet Jesus. And it was all about people that spend way too much time on the internet, really. That's the general theme of this. It was a sort of rehashing of the first movie to begin with, but they had to emasculate Keanu Reeves' character quite a bit. There were people that smartly did not return for this movie, including Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne, and I think that was a wise choice. This movie did not need to be made to begin with. But Reeves regrets his role. I would hope so. Oh, Count Zero. Yeah. I haven't read that in a long time. Some of Gibson's work looks a little dated because the internet. He couldn't have foreseen what happened with stuff like the internet, but he was way ahead of his time. Three Stupid One. They were in the Zion Weird Orgy Dance Party and on and on. I believe that was the third one. Yeah, Straight Says Mail. So you're saying Keanu got a payday? He got a hell of a payday for this. But this was a fucking horrible movie. I think a couple scenes were straight up lifted from Equilibrium, too. Forgot to turn on the stove. Oh, yeah. That's a problem, Cannibal. So this is the... Spoiler alert. He's replacing somebody that didn't return. The scenes, like the machines are working with the people, and there's this whole thing about like cooperation. It just because someone's different doesn't mean you gotta hate them. And all the blue on him is really kind of not subtle at all. There's our blue-haired feminist savior who wakes up internet Jesus. She's total Mary Sue through the whole thing too. The blue pills, he dumps them in the sink, which is a straight-up shot-for-shot ripoff of Equilibrium, from what I can tell. Yeah, take this pill, me. They still keep the pill motif. If they really wanted to switch it up, they'd have made it something a little more conducive that people would actually do. Like, if you want to stay in the Matrix, put on this blue hat. If you want a reality, put on this red hat. But you can't do that now, can you? Thanks, Trump. So, yeah, it was just... It wasn't boring, but it was very close to being boring. But I've seen Soviet propaganda. I've seen Triumph of the Will, and it reminded me a lot of those films. It had a very propaganda feel to it, and it wasn't subtle at all. They were very blatant about what they were doing. The dialogue really, really betrayed that time and time again. There were so many blatant messaging parts. It's no wonder that this guy comes out and says he hates Nazis and fascists. He probably sees them around every fucking bush. The best part when it ended? Yeah, no, the best part was right before I clicked on playing it. So he didn't do this movie. Yeah, Frosted, you're not wrong. Pussy hat or red hat. Yeah. BG, that's not entirely far off for what this movie was. But yeah, it was just lazy. The whole film was lazy. There were a lot of attempts at fan service, when they go to the new place, and they were talking about how like Morpheus couldn't see past the paradigm he was trapped in. It was really big on trying to break the binary. They made that real clear. They did. Oh, everything is seen in binary. No, it's fucking stupid. Yeah, Frosted, you're not wrong. That would actually have been a better assessment. If you have Audible, Neuromancer is a great narrator in the Anniversary Edition. Oh, well, that's cool. But yeah, everything about. I'm trying not to give away any of the stupid twists because they're not very twisty, and the fight scenes were actually kind of lacking. I think the fight choreographer took early lunch a few times, and it kind of showed because some of the fights, and if you look at the background of some of the fights, some people are just kind of standing around getting ready for stuff to happen, and they should be fighting, but they're not. It was dumb fun. I disagree, Anthrax. I thought it was dumb. I didn't have any fun watching this film. I absolutely did not. I mean, Keanu Reeves and some of the actors were fine. Even the blue-haired chick, she's a decent actress. But I thought the script was just so ham-fisted with the propaganda. It took me out of the story completely. They could not get out of their own ass. And the pseudo-intellectualism was just... Somebody took a Psych 201 class, and that was the end of their time in Psych. Because it was just... The whole constant thing with the binary, it was terrible. Don't watch this movie unless you want to shut your brain off. I think it could have been a lot better. This should have been the second Matrix film. It would have made more sense then, I think. But it did nothing for me. I regret watching it. It wasn't needed at all. But if you had fun watching it, cool. I just didn't. Oh, thank you, Evolved Potato. I can accept they might have meant to have the original movies as an allegory to trans. It doesn't matter the movie didn't show that. Like how Starship Troopers was supposed to show it is a fascist government, but it showed to be the exact opposite. Yeah, the Starship Troopers movie really failed where the book succeeded on that. But yeah, I guess you could probably make some kind of weird, some sort of weird trans allegory out of the Matrix. I never got that out of it, but I guess you could retroactively read that into it somehow. But just, I didn't see that. They're waiting for no, it was worse than that, Evil One. Like literally in the background of there's this big fight where there's they're like in an old factory or something, and this guy from the third movie, the Merovingian or whatever his name is, was talking, and he's talking to somebody in the background. Keanu Reeves is just standing there with his arms up, and clearly they're supposed to be fighting, but he's just kind of standing there. Not M. Night Shyamalan. No, not worthy of that. I have a hard time explaining this movie because it was just so boring. Yeah, Keanu was the only one not sniffing his own farts. He was the only interesting character in the whole thing. Everybody else was preachy and boring. The original Matrix is only famous because of the camera work. Story-wise, some big Bible meets internet nonsense. Yeah, you're not wrong, Louis. I think if you want to take the Matrix, there's better versions of that story out there of people like awakening to a new reality than that movie. That movie to me is a C-. I don't seek it out, but I might watch it if it's on TV. My brother absolutely hates that film, and I get it because it's basically just an awakening movie. Like it was trying too hard with the second and third movie too, because those were really up their own ass too. But this one, it was far and away. I mean, if they'd started quoting the Bible to me, it would have been a biblical film because it's like that. It's like watching something by Pure Flix, but for lefties. That was probably the best part. Good one, Lesser. I understand the apology that case was tech went mental for about 15 years. Even the best couldn't have seen it. I missed something on that, but okay. Yeah, I think even the special effects in the Matrix movies, the originals, are vastly dated now. And you can tell that by watching the original Matrix and watching the multiple people fight scene where like the Smiths and the Neos break up, and those look like PlayStation 2 graphics now. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think this movie did anybody any favors. If you watch it for free, that's one thing, but if you pay $20 to see this, I don't. If you're unless you're a diehard lefty, you're probably not going to get much out of it. Yeah, you're not wrong, Lesser. The Merovingian was completely pointless in that film. He was ridiculous originally, and now he's just as ridiculous in this one. So I would not recommend this film. I thought it was boring, waste of 2 hours. What could have been an interesting story, because there were grains of good story in there, but they were just every time it would start getting to where it could be interesting, you have to have some propaganda bullshit thrown at you. I wasn't going to reveal that Anthrax, but you're not wrong. So yeah, it's no longer about a savior. It's a collective now. So I thought that movie fucking blew. And I regret watching it. It could have been a much, much more fun movie, but they took that away from us because they think they have to have messaging and everything. All right, let's get to our final story of the night. Looks like a homeless barn owl. There was a lot of that in this movie. The slang, too, really, really dates the movie fast. Because they're using modern internet slang in the far future. And everybody's saying like little quips and phrases that are modern day Twitter speak effectively. And that's going to make this movie very dated very quickly. All right, so our last article is about Dungeons and Dragons. And this one comes from Dicebreaker. It's an opinion piece by Emma Partlow, who has a snarky smirk on her face. So that should tell you all you need to know. Dungeons & Dragons in 2021, essential evolution makes the RPG bigger and better than ever, but work remains. These people are about to get into some battle poetry, obviously. Challenges with the ongoing CUF aside, D&D is more popular and profitable than ever before. I find that suspect because the 80s was an extremely good time for D&D thanks to the Satanic Panic. Acknowledging the continual stream of podcast streams, and why do you have stream in there twice? The continual flow of podcast streams and digital accessibility through Roll20 and D&D Beyond, the tabletop RPG, is inviting new players into the hobby in a huge way. This year, personalities and creators found exciting ways to advertise the game through such events as D&D Live, an annual live play streaming event that saw celebrities such as Jack Black, Kevin Smith, and various wrestlers join in the role-playing fun. Outside the collaborative events, Wizards of the Coast is branching D&D into other intellectual properties, most notably Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, a Magic the Gathering crossover set released earlier this year, which featured some of D&D's most beloved characters in cardboard form. They did a toy line and a cartoon in the 80s, plus there's been 2 movies, so what the fuck you talking about? It's so popular that Wizards of the Coast will release a second Magic the Gathering offering in Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate in Q2 next year. Either way, D&D is evolving in new and appealing ways that extend into 2022 and beyond. With the increasing popularity of D&D, players are changing how they approach the tabletop role-playing game. Traditionally speaking, D&D 5e has offered a heavy emphasis on combat as a means to progress the story. Because people want to kill fucking orcs! Nowadays, that's not an allegory for black people, you idiots. Nowadays, however, a number of players are trading combat in exchange for narrative and character progression. Because those were never in there before. Perhaps mimicking qualities commonly seen on Critical Role, or the fact that it's always been there. Combat is increasingly seen as a foundation for inexperienced DMs to help structure a campaign before settling into a heavier storytelling narrative once they become comfortable. No, that's your idiotic perspective. Sometimes people just want to kill bad guys. Have you thought about that? Maybe that wizard needed his hands broken by a barbarian before he was thrown off the tower to end the fucking horrors that he was unleashing on the civilians below. I don't know. Often combat can grow cumbersome yet abrupt, especially for players who have created bonds with their character and unwilling to lose them through an improper fight. Life's hard. It's full of challenges. Sometimes people die. Naturally, this varies from play group to play group, but D&D is becoming less about fighting monstrous dragons and more about building the landscape surrounding them. And honestly, it's a good thing. Is it? Because it sounds more like Junior Drama Club. It's likely the shift came about around during the ongoing pandemic. No, not likely. With restrictions limiting the ability to see those we care about, it's called the internet, and that care and feeding into our D&D experiences. Through digital innovations such as Roll20 and D&D Beyond, players can maintain the routine of keeping in touch while rolling dice and building captivating stories together. You could do it over live streaming before that. Now, not only are players using D&D as an online social construct to escape their sad real lives, I assume, they're finding escapism through a turbulent time. Oh, you're a pussy. And that escape is comforting even for a few hours a week. These people are so fucking weak. With the emphasis on storytelling rather than monster slaying, it's always been about storytelling because you're telling the story of slaying monsters. It's introducing a new approach to D&D that is sorely needed and will only entice players to the game long term. No, I doubt that highly. Even Wizards of the Coast acknowledged the trend with the latest release, Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos, a source book that crosses over with Magic the Gathering set released earlier in the year, Strixhaven School of Mages. The school, which is founded on the plane of Arcavos, is known as the most elite university in the multiverse where players take the role of budding first-year students. You know, like Harry Potter. As you can guess, the offering cares less about combat and invests more in social aspects and woes of student life. Because you peaked in high school. No, Anthrax, it started in the 80s. Right around 85 with Paula Paulding blaming her son's suicide on D&D. She wrote a really fun book called The Devil's Web. But it went up until about the mid-80s because you had the satanic panic of like D&D and the occultism that was popular from the 70s kind of fading out. And then you had the secondary satanic panic where Satanists were sacrificing satanic ritual abuse syndrome. Change your lights on using art over and over again. Yeah, Ryan, you're not wrong. The most intelligent DMs have players make their way through high school. Yeah. I was kidding. What the fuck? No, dude, this is real. This is a real thing. Strixhaven, you can do battle poetry and have impromptu festivals because you never got to go to prom when you were in school and you're a sad, lonely loser who peaked in high school. Fucking get over it. Jesus Christ. Then you have The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, a D&D 5th edition source book that encourages progression through performance and entertainment, which it once again ignores the desire for conflict. We once had somebody resolve conflict through an herbalism contest. This is not new. As such, Wild Beyond the Witchlight is regarded as one of the better D&D products for 5e as it marries a lavish carnival setting by pulling off a dramatic heist to round out the story. Ooh, a heist. Because that's what D&D is best known for, is heists. Now, let's not forget what Wizards of the Coast thinks of older players. Because it's not very high of an opinion that they have of you. If you've been playing for a long time, they don't like you. They don't want you there at their table. They don't want you buying their product. They think you're stupid. And they think that you're a joke. And that's why they introduced a specific character to shit all over older fans. Because your idea of gaming is outdated. Theirs is righteous and pure and the bestest ever. And that's why we have Thaco the Clown. This is what Wizards of the Coast thinks of older players. You don't like the way they play with their stupid little impromptu battle festivals, battle poetry, and cutting insults, which probably involve the N-word. They think you're this. You want to actually sit around a table, relieve some stress by killing dragons and freeing a village and saving the maidens. This is what you are to them. You're a fucking clown. How dare you not have social change themes in your game, you monster. How dare you? You're a clown to them. Yeah, it's not a party until everyone gets chased out of town by the town guard. Exactly. The word beta comes to mind right now. Not sure why. Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, meanwhile, provided an in-depth look at the hallmark scaly beasts of the franchise. You mean like the Elminster Ecologies used to do? Well, the source book is mostly aimed at DMs. Fizban's Treasury of Dragons offers a wealth of information for those wanting to flesh out dragons in their campaigns. This is not new. They did all this in second ed. The book isn't just about creating a compelling end boss either. Fizban's Treasury of Dragons accommodates dragons of all kinds, like the old Elminster's Ecologies or the Van Richten's guides. I swear these people have no concept of the history of the game they're playing. Same classic tropes, which feels largely overdue given the age of the fantasy role-playing game. This is not new. Oh my god, you guys are idiots. Given the remarkable growth of D&D, there are nagging issues with how the RPG approaches racial traits, which are deeply rooted within the game, and how these habits remain relevant today thanks to traditionalism. Oh, everything traditional is bad. Oh, scary things from the past. Hurt your fifis. Wizards of the Coast said last year that future source books would depict all D&D races in similarly relatable ways to eliminate problematic aspects. However, there's been little motivation to change this concept to meet community standards. Whose community? Portland? Such as tying D&D characters to inborn violence, intelligence, or honor to a race. You mean like the Klingons? Honor? Inborn violence? You mean like people raised in a third world country, that, like the Congo, that only know violence and child soldiers, that sort of thing? Those were broad, sweeping generalities anyway. They weren't like, you didn't have to have every orc be evil, but they were evil. Shifting that creative freedom onto DMs to manage isn't addressing the issue. Why not? You can easily say, well, I don't want to do that. It's merely passing it on to the DM to be accountable instead. Well, aren't they ultimately accountable for what happens in their game? When creating a character in D&D, ability scores are usually tied to race, such as elves giving an inherent +2 to dexterity. Maybe because they're more flexible. Have you thought of that? Maybe because they're a different species, they are different. Huh, weird idea. Something out of the ordinary, because we don't have elves in real life. Fucking idiots. Instead of addressing the issue of racial traits, the publisher introduced a custom lineage option in last year's Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which unlocked racial restrictions on bonus skills and proficiencies for players to work with. No, for incompetent boobs to work with, because you're too stupid to figure out to do it on your own. Both Fizban Treasury of Dragons and Wild Beyond the Witchlight didn't improve on the effort either, and merely cast the issue to one side, because who fucking cares? However, with the release of Strixhaven earlier this month, the source book introduced a polyamorous relationships, romanceable NPCs. Romanceable NPCs have always been there, and polyamorous relationships, you could do that anyway. Who cares? It's not introducing it, it's always been around. And the ability to gain inspiration from these relationships. That's lazy. So you're a lazy game master and you're a lazy player. That's all I'm hearing here is, I want it done for me. Meh. And nobody else can do it if I can't. Meh, meh, meh. Despite the emphasis on socially skewed gameplay experiences, there's another step toward rewarding you for playing D&D through non-traditionalist means. What, you're going to sacrifice kittens next? Known issues aside, next year offers plenty of encouragement for budding D&D enthusiasts. There will be 2 major classic D&D settings that will come to 5e in 2022, with a third classic setting coming in the form of a cameo appearance. As announced by Wizards of the Coast, the returning settings will be published in formats we've never really seen in products before. I bet they come in these boxes that have like maps that are loose and stuff, with teases that could feature in digital space for future releases. That means they can edit it whenever they want and not tell you and give you a big middle finger if you complain. It'll be interesting to see how Wizards of the Coast approaches D&D through digital means, since there is a huge emphasis on tabletop play, perhaps shifting some of the player base digitally, as with Magic the Gathering and its Arena client. Either way, this is thinking ahead with the ongoing pandemic in mind, allowing better ways to engage with the game without compromising player safety or the need to go outside. Ooh, that's scary out there. People with other opinions. Going further, there'll be another fan favorite setting making a full appearance in 2023, with the next major iteration of D&D coming in 2024. Although there's no official word, I don't know why they're bothering to release new settings when they're going to just reboot the entire thing again in a couple years anyway. Although there's no official wording on this will be Dungeons & Dragons 6e, it will be. The upcoming release will include new versions of core rulebooks, such as Dungeon Master's Guide and Player's Handbook, to get rid of all those scary things that make them think that orcs are black people for some fucked up racist reason. Not only is the next evolution of D&D currently under development and pussification, the release will also mark the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons in 2024, and will also all will be unveiled next year. Despite ignoring problematic issues, there's no better time to fall into the game. The new players pulled away from old habits, like, fun, because you're not allowed to have fun anymore. Such a bunch of crybabies. Eddie Murphy Raw. Oh, I loved Eddie Murphy Raw. Imagine preparing a character, waiting all week to play just to go on an epic quest. You play and the entire plot is a mean principal in your school. Yeah, what a fucking waste of my time. What a complete waste of time. Yeah, second ed, man. That's where it was at. They didn't have any of this stupid bullshit then. Yeah, they toned down the demons and shit and renamed them. So what? That was fucking pussyfied compared to this loser shit. These people are such babies, which is why I'm recommending support for TSR in their lawsuit against Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, this is fucking nonsense. I hate this so much. Oh, thank you, Atheist Icon, for the donation with no message. Appreciate it, man. That was really nice of you. Yeah, I'm getting a headache from this stupid shit. I watched Matrix and then I gotta jump over to this pussy crap. We are a culture in decline when you pander this much to these people. Who are TSR and why are they suing WOTC? TSR Hobbies was the name of the company that originally created Dungeons & Dragons. WOTC gave up the trademarks. So the son of one of the creators of D&D, Ernie Gygax Jr., and one of his associates now have the trademark. This guy that's running the Kickstarter, or the Indiegogo, rather. He owns the trademark now, Justin Lanasa. And they got together and reformed a new company called TSR. And what's happening is WOTC is trying to claim that they still own those trademarks, even though they lapsed back in like 89. And they don't want a new TSR to rise because it'll take away from D&D. So if these guys come out with a fantasy game, a lot of the older fans like myself aren't going to give Wizards of the Coast money, which we're not anyway because we gave up on them. I did a stream on this a few weeks ago. So check that out for all the details. But the long and short of it is Hasbro might be selling Wizards of the Coast to Tencent, the Chinese company. And that's what it looks like. But they don't want competition because the old fans still feel locked in and loyalty to D&D. But if these guys come out with a fantasy role-playing game that is less political and less stupid, they may flood over there, and that's what they're afraid of. Yeah, you can't escape Tencent. China owns everything. Yeah, the enemy tries to introduce an opinion you don't like, make a will save. That's pretty much what the game's turning into. They want it to be as milquetoast and safe as possible. The de-emphasis on combat, if you want to run your game that way, fine. I knew plenty of game groups that did that shit, and it was just junior drama club. And I always thought that was boring. I don't want to sit around and play act with a bunch of crybabies that wish they'd been actors. I never found that interesting or fun, but some people are real into it. I'd rather play combats and moral dilemmas and dungeon delving for loot. Most of the players I played with like that stuff better, but to each their own. So, yeah, that's what's going on there. Do you think White Wolf still owns Black Dog? I don't think the game could ever be remade today. I think when White Wolf fell apart, they sold everything off. I don't think anything of White Wolf's still around, but they couldn't make those games today. No, they watered down even Vampire the Masquerade, as PC as that was. They watered that down pretty heavily in what was it, Bloodlines, and the new version, I guess, is a little bit better, but it wouldn't be long before they got rid of the problematic elements in there too. Like somebody will complain that the hideous Nosferatu were somehow an allegory for black people. Same shit. Yeah, loot and pillage. It's D&D. Look, you could loot and pillage in different ways too. You didn't have to be evil. You could be good guys that were going to clear out a dungeon with problematic kobolds and steal all their loot, or just go into some old dungeons. We used to just do dungeon delves. It was a lot of fun. Avoiding combat's always been an option. Where do they think diplomacy and bluff skills exist? Right? Those have been around for a long time. You can talk your way out of stuff all the time. So yeah, they're just making it into a Harry Potter hug box. D&D is D&D was brought up as a supplement to Chainmail, which was a miniatures combat game. If you want to play a foo-foo emotional feel-good game, you play like Immortal. Or what were the other ones that were pretty much diceless? There were a couple of them out there back in like the mid-90s, early 90s that were just storytelling engines. Earth Dawn was kind of like that too. That wasn't so focused on combat. How dare you play a game for fun? I know, right? No fun allowed in Soviet Russia. Yeah, pretty much. That's what they want, is if you don't play it our way, you're playing it wrong. And that's not how these games... Amber, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. But these games are largely about combat. And yeah, they're male power fantasies. I'm sorry if you don't like that. It's just the way the world is. You want to be a hero. I know those words, but that statement makes no sense. Oh, fuck, do I have a squirrel in here again? Damn it, I think a squirrel got in. New TSR coming out with a fantasy role-playing setting is akin to what D&D was. WOTC don't like the name, that the name is still ours. We found the name in the Lost and Found. Yeah, pretty much. I'm hoping fantasy TSR comes out with a new fantasy role-playing game. I know they have a game that they're taking pre-orders on, but it's just like a board game. I don't think it's a role-playing game. But WOTC is still trying to claim they own the name, even though they let the trademark lapse. And it's pretty messy. I read the entire lawsuit papers. They retracted it and they're refiling over in Washington State, and I hope they win. I hope that WOTC gets schooled hard by TSR. Referencing gaming, and you have me around as the fountain of lore and trivia about RPGs. It's sitting here writing even more. Yeah, right. Yeah, Ryan works in the RPG industry, and man, I'd be Be scared to do that these days. Of course, I don't give a fuck, so I just self-publish, but play with female gamers. They love combat as much as anyone, and a few of them enjoy it more than some of the male players. Yeah, it's all about people at your game table, and sometimes it's just a bad fit at a table, but they don't want you to have fun your way. Like, it's take their ball and bat and go home stuff. They just want to say, well, if I don't enjoy that, no one else can either. All right, I'm just complaining now. Might as well go shout at some clouds. And I think I have a squirrel in the attic again. So I got to go look to make sure that everything's sealed up tight, because otherwise I'll have to bust out the traps, and I don't really want to deal with that shit today. So Animal Crossing needs weapons and an invasion system, right? Yeah, exactly, Cougar Knife. They are excluding you. And you know what that is? That's racist. Because as a cougar, how dare they do that to you? It's speciesist. One of the women playing in my campaign is the biggest murder hobo in the party, right? You got to watch those chicks, man. They get all bunny boiler on you. Well, that was all I had tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming out, and the support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys have been very generous, and I really, really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully we'll be doing another stream probably tomorrow. Not on this channel, but probably do a Mr. Awesome stream. Teach Mr. Flippington how to catch those damn squirrels. He's lazy. Yeah, happy Boxing Day. But thank you all for coming out. Thank you again for the donations and all the support you give me. I really do appreciate it. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas to you too, Anthrax. How was the floof? He's mad at me. He was calling out just outside right before I started, so I don't know what he's doing. But you guys have a great night. Hope your Christmases and other things went well. Yes, I do know him, Frosted. We're friends. But have a great night, you guys, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Fucking squirrels.